Attention, please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Dark Knight? That's where he says, not my diagnosis.
Oh, okay.
And he says...
Nerd On.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome wherever they exist in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Oh.
All sizes.
All sizes.
Giant and tiny.
And
super tiny.
Yeah.
And super tiny.
Ultra.
65 feet or just 21 feet. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, even 85.
Or like a micron.
Yes.
Or smaller.
That actually is
Well, if you're done comparing sizes, let's move on.
Let's talk about the episode. But first, Josh, since you like to do it.
I do like
The
to
business.
do it. Because
Do
it's
it.
one of my favorite parts. Because I get to say, this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons.
Patrons!
Ba, 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 over at Patreon. Everything that we do is pretty much because they are awesome.
Yep.
And
Everything more we get to do.
that's true.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Not to mention all those people who just listen to us and download us week to week.
You listen to our
Leave us
words
reviews.
that come
Yeah.
out of
We
our
read
mouth.
every single one of them around a table and we cry and laugh and
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm actually like fetal in the corner right now, just with the microphone to my mouth. But yeah. So what are we talking about?
Before we talk about that, let's introduce all of our hosts.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm Josh.
I'm Caitlin.
Ollie.
I'm Corey.
Jeez. And I'm Tom.
You're not
And today we are talking about our spoiler-rich discussion of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Marvel's third installment this year, 2018, and their 10-year anniversary.
Also known as the mouthwash to get the sadness of Infinity War out of your mouth.
Oh,
The ginger.
that's, well, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Kind of.
So again, spoiler. But before we jump right into it, let's do a little new segment that we've been developing called Guess
That Grump.
This is how we do it.
What? No.
It's like 15 different songs.
I was there with you.
Yep. So if you don't know what this is, or this is the first time you've heard this, Guess That Grump is going to be something where we, five, how many people do we have?
Five.
of us.
Well, 6
Five.
including Luna. That's why we get confused.
6, including you, listener.
Exactly. We're going to guess who is going to be the grumpiest person who will give the lowest rating
That's
of
right.
the movie that or whatever thing that we're talking about for the day.
At the end of our episode, we always do a, as far as movies go, a rating out of 5 stars. And the goal here is to guess who will give the lowest score. You
Yeah,
can play
so-
at home.
So take your time. Go ahead and write that down right now. Either Tom, Corey, Ollie, Caitlin, or Josh.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
And let us know if you got it right.
it's not meant to be negative.
No.
And let me say that. The grump has kind of become a joke.
Yeah.
And
I
our
d-
ratings mean nothing.
Yeah.
No. 100% meaningless.
They only matter to me and Corey. But and the rating, honestly,
right.
again, to elaborate, it's the only reason we give it if like it's a 1 out of 5 scale. And so when we talk about things, it's like, why is it not a 5? A 5 is a perfect film that Corey has to blow the filmmaker.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I forgot
What?
about that.
Just Corey.
Yes.
That was,
So
that was
that a-
episode
Even
like,
if it's a 5-star
That
for
was like
me,
episode like
Corey
4
has to
or
do it.
5.
Yeah. Just to be clear.
He has
Just
to blow.
Corey, right?
So
Yeah.
pause the episode, go
All
listen to
right.
episode 4 or 5, whatever one it is.
Whatever it is, Movies Are Us.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah, find Movies
so-
Are Us, and I get really upset about it because I say it and then I go, God, now I gotta.
But
Anyway.
let's get this started. I'll go first. I'm guessing that, and you can't guess yourself.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess that it's going to be, it's going to be Corey. I can't guess myself, so it's going to be Corey. I'm going to guess on.
Caitlin, who are you gonna guess?
You flung it at me.
I did. Flung it right at you. Like
Gross.
a chimp at a zoo.
Gross.
you should.
I'm gonna
R.I.P.
pick
Coco.
Tom.
Okay.
Because he seems grumpy a lot.
All right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Guilty
wrong.
By Grumpa Nation.
Uh-huh.
Ollie?
This has become like a game, like a board. Like
Yeah.
what's that board game that we play where you have to guess the
Werewolf?
Guess who?
Yes.
Oh, the werewolf.
Guess who?
We just looked at each other like,
Does he have sunglasses on?
Yeah, One Night Werewolf.
I'm going to pick Tom as well.
All right.
wow.
2 on Tom and
Can't
1
pick-
on Corey.
Can't pick me.
You can't pick yourself.
I'm gonna say.
It's a hint, by the way.
Ali.
Okay.
I'm gonna go wild card.
Wild card. Wow.
Josh.
It's between two in the room, and he just twinkled. Oh, he's batting his eyeballs at me.
His
I'm gonna go with Ali.
eyeballs?
Giving you
He's
Morse code.
batting his eyeballs.
His eyeballs
I'll
at
poke
me.
my eyeball at you if you want.
I'm gonna.
Eventually in Lulu.
So
Okay.
Ali.
Okay.
Yeah. Ali.
Okay.
So 2 on Ali, 1 on Corey, and 2
2
on Tom.
Got it.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Even
Those of you at home, you have your answer. Let us know after the show. Slip inside of those DMs. Let us know if you got it right, if you got it wrong, all that kind of stuff. But let's jump into the brief synopsis.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, the sequel to Ant-Man that came out in 2015. Yeah, I mean, what else did we really talk about? It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. It takes place mainly after the
The
events of.
synopsis.
The synopsis. That's what there is to
That's what
talk
there is to
about.
talk about.
Okay,
The
so
storyline.
So it takes place. It's really more of a sequel of Civil War to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
I
a lot
agree.
of the
Yeah, it's happening at the same
consequences
time as
Infinity
Infinity
War. And for those who don't know, Ant-Man, who got this suit, Scott Lang, Hank Pym is the original Ant-Man, and then he just took in the moniker of being Ant-Man for the first movie.
His protege.
Fought Yellow Jacket, which is supposed to be Ant-Man and whatever. But in Civil War, he joins Captain America, gets caught, and then is on house arrest for 2 years.
Yep.
Starting the movie, he's in house arrest. He's playing this cool game with this kid.
He's only got 3 days left.
He's only got 3 days left. So
After
there's
2
this,
years.
There's this stakes of if he gets caught or doing something like that, he's in prison for 20 years or some shit. But Evangeline Lilly and Michael Douglas's characters, Hank Pym and Jane Van Dyne, find reason to believe that they can go get their mom or the original Wasp who's in the quantum realm. They try to go get these components because they're on the run, so they got to do everything under the radar. This ghost-like figure, which is Ghost, the character, intervenes and then starts a bunch of shit. They end up including the help of Bill Foster, aka Black Goliath. And he helps out, which actually it seems that he's helping Ghost in the entire time because Ghost is phasing in and out of realms or quantum
She was hit with some sort of quantum force that killed her parents,
from a quantum tunnel.
but somehow left her literally all of her atoms being torn apart and put back together all the time.
Also, a fun thing, if you want to count how many times we say quantum in this episode, I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
So they have
Quantum
gonna
in
be a
front of
lot.
things to make it sound more scientific.
Yeah, so they have to use this quantum submarine to go into this quantum tunnel to go to the quantum realm.
Not
and
wrong.
Find Michelle Pfeiffer, who is
Who's
the mom.
now a
I
quantum
would go
person.
into a quantum place.
She looks great.
Oh, man.
By the way,
Yeah.
She was my bae when I was
So-
growing
like
up.
they did
Still bae.
the de-aging thing, and I was like, wow, that is really great. And then I saw it, I was like, oh, they didn't do much.
Nope.
Wasn't it
They
that
just changed her hair color.
Yeah.
we were reading that the filmmakers saying the de-aging makeup was probably going to be the bread and butter of the film.
Yeah, well, they started with makeup with
Iron Man.
I
Or no, not Iron Man.
That was CGI.
Civil War.
no. When they started doing makeup
Guardians
over
Galaxy?
computers, it was Kurt Russell,
Guardians Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
to show him in when he was young.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're trying to go find this mom. Ghost wants to use this quantum thing to suck out all of the quantum energy out of the mom so she can be one with, not be in pain all the time.
She's been there for
Her
30
condition is
30
getting
years.
worse and worse.
Yeah, and then Scott Lang needs to make sure he's just not in trouble at all times. So those are all the
he
stakes.
has a
His
connection
only
to the
job.
mom. That's why
Yeah.
they need him around.
Yeah, because the mom put an antenna so that she can communicate and lead a map. And the
So it's this cat and mouse game where there's
Yeah.
a bunch of cats going after the mouse, which is the office building.
Yeah.
Eventually, Hank goes in to
the office
quantum
building
realm.
that holds the lab.
Yeah, into the this rolly suitcase lab.
Yeah.
He goes in and pulls her out. She is able to heal.
she has cosmic
Ghost.
powers.
Yeah, she has quantum energy that she's built up over 30 years, and she heals Ghost temporarily because at the end of the movie,
They still have to do quantum,
Quantum
Healing.
healing.
which is a credit scene.
so everybody's happy. Walter Goggins goes to jail. Truth serum's a real thing.
Always
It
has
is true,
been.
Sarah.
Always has been.
Little Bo, he gets off house arrest. Randall Park kills it as the awkward FBI agent.
Yeah.
And he gets to spend time with his daughter.
And
that about it?
That's about it.
Great.
Yeah.
Initial reactions? Should we do that?
Sure.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about where this film takes place and where it is in the MCU. So this year, 2018, we had Black Panther, and we had Avengers: Infinity War, and then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Mhm.
I would say specifically Ant-Man and the Wasp was the most superhero film this year. Like
Yeah.
Black Panther to me was more of like just like a drama, just like a story. There wasn't like a huge like superhero moment. It was like
Infinity War was a space opera.
I mean, in
Yeah.
some places it was kind of like very much like Lion King, like Black Panther, and then Infinity War is very much like a drama, like a tragedy, like a Greek fucking tragedy.
Yeah.
And this was like superheroes are doing superhero shit. I need a partner, blah blah. You want to be my Robin? But anyways,
Yeah. It was
And-
more kind of like that, like phase 1 or phase 2
yeah, feeling. So
type
it was,
thing,
it
which
was,
I think
it was
is a
interesting.
pro and a con.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we'll talk about the end credit.
Yeah.
At this point, at the end credits, mid credit scene, they've mastered the usage of this quantum
healing.
tunnel, and then they send Scott to go get the
They
quantum
put it in the
particles.
back of Michael Pena's van.
Yes.
They have a
Of course
smaller
they did.
version now.
And he goes in there trying to get these quantum particles, and then the snapping happens.
Well, you hear the 3. We're gonna pull you out in 5, 4, 3, and then you hear the static, and he's in there going in the quantum realm, going, "Hello, hello," and it cuts back to where Hank, Hope, and what's the mom's name?
Janet.
Janet. We're standing, and it's just the snapping dust. And
Ooh.
in our theater, it was the best thing ever
It
because
was
it cuts back, and the whole
awesome.
theater goes, "Oh!" And one person yelled.
Oh, what was it? What did he say?
I think he went, "Fuck, what?" It was great. It was the best audible reaction I've seen to anything.
and then
Yeah.
the end credit is one of the programmed ants just playing on drums.
Yeah, it was the one you've seen in the trailer 1,000
And that was the
times.
most important part because it really tells us a lot about Avengers 4.
I think really,
It was
No?
compared to Howard the Duck.
Well,
or
you see,
pterodactyl on the Eiffel Tower.
You do see like the TV signal
playing.
gone
That's
and
true.
like the city pretty much empty, but
But then a ant still drumming out.
I do wish it wasn't the scene they showed in the trailer 6 times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
really wish it wasn't. But
it's almost as if they couldn't figure out another place to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the really cool thing is that this kind of like, the entire movie was like spoiled. I was like, it's going to end with the Infinity War. To
Yeah.
me.
What? Really?
Yeah. How are people like chill and normal in San Francisco? Oh, there's just a giant person and people are already dusted
No,
away.
San Francisco is totally like that. The snapping didn't affect it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I was
I was like,
thinking it
whatever.
the whole time, but
makes
once the
sense.
movie ended, I think my brain had switched out of like, what time period are we in?
Oh, no.
And I had totally forgotten about it. So when it cut back, I was like, oh, this is dope. They're going to heal her. And then I was like, of course it's the Snapshot.
I totally so yeah, I knew that it took place between the movies, between Civil War and Infinity War, but none of us the people that I was with like thought about it ending with that. But I totally called it.
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah, 100%. I
the
literally.
mid credit, like specifically, I was like the mid credit scene is going to be
Oh,
them getting dusted.
I thought it was going to end off with the dusting.
I didn't think it would
After the credits?
No,
Because-
like right before the credits even started. I was hoping that.
Well, I think it didn't. I didn't think it would because it sort of has that benefit of being almost like a self-contained movie, and I don't think they would have done that for a
It's
self-contained
more of like
movie.
we didn't forget.
Because not everybody would get it. I
Know
don't
what
think.
that is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
fair.
You
understand.
can't bank on people having
I got
seen
it. I
Infinity
get
War
you.
necessarily, but
I think a good thing to talk about is what does this do for the MCU in terms of like as a film franchise machine, as what the MCU is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this was like it's the first comedy for the MCU this year, and like I think Ant-Man.
Well,
and
Ant-Man
Guard-
was the first, like, Kevin Feige has gone on the record to say that the reason they greenlit Ant-Man was because they, like, Marvel prides itself in, like, selecting different tones of films. They're not all like, oh, here's a Marvel superhero film. Like, it's I know, but you know what I mean? Like, comedy, tragedy, whatever they'll...
Hey, we don't like mayo on our sandwiches. Here's mayo with olive oil. Like it's the same shit. Here's aioli.
Never mind
It's the same
then.
shit. I'm just saying he can say that, but it's not happening in the way that he wants it to be.
I understand.
Where like Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, they're known as the comedy ones, but Guardians of the Galaxy are just 2-hour-long music videos for me. But Ant-Man in itself is in its DNA is more comedy than it is a superhero movie,
Absolutely.
which I think works
It's
for
great.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Works well for
So
it.
it was meant as, and I think in this situation, what does it do for the MCU? It is more of it explains where Ant-Man was during Infinity War, and it is a palate cleanser after the 2 heavier movies we've had this year.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about in the future because all these legacy, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, like there's a lot of rumors and speculation that they're not going to join, phase 4, phase 5, whatever, the next 20 years, next 10 years of
Oh my
Marvel.
God.
Because, they're getting older and then the contracts were going to end and stuff like that. But
They're actors.
they
at the end of the
may
day.
want to do something else or whatever. But then
No.
these characters cannot be the same people all
not
the
going
time.
to recast.
So violently
major
upset about
characters
it.
like
Yeah,
that.
and so like what I like very much, I see Ant-Man continue on being like almost like a Deadpool to the X-Men universe, where it's self-contained, it's slightly self-contained, slightly like referential, but like
Yeah.
it could hold its own by itself
Yeah.
and not have to like rely so much. Like Captain America and Iron Man rely a lot on like the events of Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I really like that. Like really, the main thing that the Civil War event really took place was that like he was in house arrest and that he may or may not have had a suit left over.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's it.
Well, also, like, they don't really. I wish they kind of did explicitly say if those events happen, because my brother and I were talking about this on the way home, and he thinks.
Shout out to Sean.
Shout out to Sean.
Shout out Sean.
Well, we came to the conclusion that
Sean.
we don't
Sure.
know
Sure,
if there's a time gap between the end of the movie and the mid-credit scene. Like, they need to go back and get healing orbs, but they obviously had to make that smaller version of that quantum
Yeah.
tunnel. How long did that take?
There is obviously a small amount of time.
Well,
I think
yeah.
showing it in the van is
Did the
supposed to be
events
like there's been
happen-
some time because
Like, how
if it
much
was-
time would the events of Infinity War? How long was that?
Well, also the thing about too is the events between Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Infinity War, and then Ant-Man, right? Because the timeline's kind of fucked up, and this has actually been a big criticism in MCU because Spider-Man says it takes place X amount of years after the first event of of the New York attack,
yeah.
and it
The
actually
event.
takes place after, like this whole thing would take place like 2 years after Civil War. And so that's why I was like, what the heck's going on? And then specifically in Ant-Man, they said 2 years ago, the Civil War event happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so it's just weird to think that Chris Evans takes 2 years to grow that beard. But yeah, so I mean, it's like 2 years in this all making and all this stuff. But then, yeah, how much,
Right, but
how
then
much
like
time?
my guess is that Infinity War took place
3 or 4 years. Or,
in the middle in that first credit
Hmm.
like gap or whatever.
like
I
the
mean,
fighting and
and
all that
then
stuff.
I would almost say just months.
Yeah,
The
Because if they're
Infinity
still
War?
healing the girl
and it still could be months. Like
between the
that's
end of
why I was
Ant-Man
like
and the post credits, the first post credits. scene, I
the
mean.
the arrival, let's call it, in Infinity War at the beginning.
with the big circular ship
Yeah.
coming
I
out.
would
Like
say-
what's the time between
I thought that all happened
and
like
the snap?
super fast.
Oh,
Like days.
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 Yeah.
Because Vision's
So-
hurt the whole time, and
Yeah.
So it could have happened like the week before
oh,
the
absolutely.
mid-credit scene. You know what I mean? And after the movie.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like, that's where it kind of like is a little
The time jump.
messed
Well,
up.
it
where
was
you
funny
don't
because
know.
I mean, and we could talk about with the movie, like the Ant-Man. I was like, oh, this is all going to take place in one day. That'd be really cool. Because he's like, oh, 3 days left, and all of a sudden, like at the end of the movie, it's 3 days. So know the movie is over the course of 3 days.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to get into speculation a little bit?
I hate speculation, but let's get into it.
We haven't even really talked about the movie and what
No.
we think about it.
Yeah.
But this is fun.
Well, yeah, I
It
mean,
is.
when we talk about the movie, we'll talk about factual things, but we'll talk a little bit about leading up.
Before
and
we
stuff.
speculate real
Yeah.
quick, because talking about the timeline is it what I thought is weird is with the events of Infinity War and the arrival, as you have called it, you have all those things happening.
starring
and then
Amy
you have,
Adams, Jeremy Renner.
and then you have this mid-credit scene that shows the snapping as it is related to the Ant-Man world. It just seemed so like kind of funny, like you couldn't see any sort of evidence that something else was happening in the world.
Well, 'cause it
where the
wasn't-
Infinity War was, they had those circular things all over the.
That
No,
wasn't
right?
happening
No?
during
I'm
the
just kidding.
film. So like that's what we were just talking about is that we think all of that Infinity War takes place from
Between
the
the end,
end of Ant-Man
and
and,
the
the
mid-credit
post-credit scene.
Okay.
So it could have been
Well, even the post-credit scene is kind of. It just seems like another day in the. Like there isn't chaos going on.
That was my criticism, where it's
Well,
like
There isn't chaos going
I thought-
on the
I
other
thought
side
that
of the
in
world.
Infinity
Yeah.
War happened in like a day or two.
yeah.
I think over the course of like 2 or
Because
3 days.
Doctor Strange goes out for a sandwich and never gets it.
Yep.
That's a day.
But what you're mentioning, Josh, brings up the question of why isn't Ant-Man there?
Well, hold up. Because so in all the news broadcasts, like in Infinity War, it only showed Iron Man is gone. and
Right.
that was it. Like Cap, all
True.
Team Cap are all in hiding.
Most
No-
of the rest of it is cosmic.
and still at this
Yeah.
point, no one knows about Wakanda.
Yeah,
like
no one knows what's
Wakanda's
going on.
just barely created an embassy
And
in
that's where
Oakland.
most of
Good
it
point.
happens.
And so, like, Wakanda is mainly affected, and then those ships only appeared in two places, in New York and wherever Black Scarlet Witch and Vision.
That was
are.
in
Sokovia?
London?
No, that was
Or-
London. It was London. It was like
Oh,
London or
London.
Italy.
It
or
was
something like
somewhere in Europe.
that. Yeah, it had nice little brick roads.
Yeah. Very nice. Look very nice. Very
Very
quaint.
romantic.
And the best reaction to a character we're seeing Captain America. But then, so New York, wherever Vision was hiding, and then in Wakanda. That's all where those ships were. And at that point, why would Ant-Man, who is now a political crime or a war criminal,
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
like know or hear anything about that?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're keeping him under wraps.
And he was
all.
on. Well, yeah. Then never mind.
So
Yeah.
so everything is all under wraps. So that's why they're not affected. But also San Francisco and New York,
Yeah.
like they're on
He
other
can't
ends of
be
the.
involved.
Yeah, he can't be involved.
I
And
guess
also,
Avengers
Hank
aren't a
Pym
thing,
hates
really.
the Starks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, they wouldn't want to do anything for them anyways.
Yeah.
They're like, you made us criminals,
You
and
made
we
us
have to run for our
criminals.
lives. So it's like, why are we going
Fair
to,
enough.
like,
And he-
even if.
And he just built this great relationship with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're getting closer, and
The mom's back.
The mom's back, and like everything is good. And so it's like, why would he risk that
Right.
and go?
In a cool way, the question this discussion is entailing is a lot of the questions that Iron Man 3 had after Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Iron Man 3 is the weakest of the Iron Man movies, but also it had the most weight because it's like, how do we do an Iron Man movie when the Avengers already happened?
It had to, it suffered from the fallout. It had to deal with the fallout.
you had
of
a
the previous
great meal, and then also you got the like shitty
Yeah.
dessert. But yeah, so are we cool with that? Now we can go into
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd love to talk
specuation.
about it.
I just realized it's probably
Oh,
going to
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
into spoilery
Speculation.
territory because there are some like leaks and stuff that I
Oh.
want to stay away from. That kind of like, if you know, like with Ant-Man's situation, you can kind of piece it together and kind of get a pretty good idea of how the next Avengers is going to start.
like getting him out of the quantum realm.
Yes, but
or-
his interaction with others, I'll put it that way.
I don't know
I
what the fuck
see.
you're talking about.
I think I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, and yeah, we should stay away with that. So
Yeah.
stay away from that on the show because it's
Yeah.
very spoiler rich with
It's
some
very
possible leaks that
spoiler-rich.
have come out on Reddit and stuff like that.
Photos.
Well, all
set
I
photos.
know, and I don't know if this is if there's a spoiler or not, but the daughter there's a new cast.
That's
for
part of it.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
but
on the
I don't
internet,
wanna
guys.
I don't want to get into it because it is like we can talk about it after, or maybe we'll do something.
Or on a
different, but,
bonus,
like,
if
on a
you
bonus,
wanna
maybe
like, comment, subscribe.
because it's juicy stuff, but it's like I know people don't want to be spoiled on that, so we'll stay away from that.
Yep.
Okay,
But
Let's dive into the
Yeah.
movie then.
so diving in, we
Wait,
So now we're gonna do initial reactions.
yes,
so
yeah.
initial reactions of the whole movie. So Corey,
Okay. I've said this a couple times on this episode already. I think it was a much needed kind of palate cleanser after the heavier movies of the year with Black Panther and especially Infinity War. Like there was a lot of like, oh fuck, the whole time through those movies.
Yeah.
So it was nice to not have that much weight. Like every issue that was caused in the movie was very personal issue, right? It wasn't like outside sources that were like, I guess we got to fucking deal with this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess we gotta save the world now.
It was very much like, I want to get my wife back. And then Lawrence Fishburne being like, I want to heal this girl. And Ant-Man being like, I don't want to go to jail. It's all self-contained issues, right? So that was nice. I think my only, and I'll get deeper into this, is I wanted more growth for some of the characters that I didn't
Growth?
get out of this. Yeah.
development,
Yeah.
Yeah,
he gets pretty big.
puberty.
I wanted bigger. But all in all, I mean, I loved the cast. I'm a huge Walton Goggins. Walton?
Walton Goggins.
Yeah,
Walton.
I always say Walter first, but Walton Goggins fan.
Walter Goggins,
Obviously Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, everyone in it is fantastic. So,
Michael Pena,
oh my God, he kills it.
was really
and Ti. You can have
T.I.'s
whatever
good,
you
too.
like.
But yeah, that's my initial reactions. I'll get
Even
in
the crazy Joker helper guy.
Yeah, I know.
Russian
Yeah.
guy.
Baba Yaga guy.
Yaga.
My initial reactions. I mean, it was a fun movie. I think it was just, a good comedy here
It's
and
a
there.
great comedy, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a great comedy. I'd say it's a good comedy. Like,
all right.
Okay.
Grump.
Suddenly come back from a temple and now you're catching me on everything.
He's like, I'm making up for lost time.
So, okay, again, Grumpy Tom, analyze. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to be very specific and create the discussion. Like, there is all these jokes that are put in there that are well buttoned up and tied up together, which I like because I was like, I swear to God, this is a stupid fucking bit. I'm gonna flip my shit. But then they all had purpose. So I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think there's sometimes a little bit too much. You know, it's not like they're killing all the serious moments with comedy. Where it was just like, it almost felt like if you ever watched a Disney movie and you're like, it feels like a song's gonna happen, and then the song happens. You watch. I feel like a joke's gonna happen, and then
Or it feels like Jack's about to laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just like, it just got like, it didn't get predictable. Like I knew exactly what was going to happen, but it got predictable. It was like, I think it's a little too serious for this moment. It's going to be a joke. Or like, we're moving to the scene. There's got to be a joke. So it'd be like a,
Josh?
what?
Who are you to say whether it's a great comedy or not? If he thinks it's a great comedy.
Well, no, he said that he said it was a great. And then I was like,
I did say
that's
it's a great comedy.
And then I said, I think it's a good comedy. And you're like, it's great. And I was like, no, I'm saying
You
it's
said
good.
I-
It sounded
if you
like
would have
you were
said
like,
I think, we wouldn't have an issue.
Well, on a show where we're all talking about what we think,
no.
I don't have to
Opinions
say,
are wrong here.
I think. It's kind of like saying quantum in front of everything.
Yeah.
This is my quantum opinion. You're wrong.
Quantum shit. Anyways, yeah, so I mean, I thought it was good. It was a good comedy. I think it was pretty well contained in terms of like from beginning to end. There was no like, there's not too many loose ends. But to Corey's point, yeah, there was a lot of development that opportunities I wish there were there. I liked how a lot of the characters' like intentions and goals were well lined.
Yeah.
And even if they were like one note people, that they're just that they were tonally focused, that they didn't like try to be this or that, try to be on the fence too much. Where I was like, cool, I know what the fuck this guy's about. When there's a gun to this character's head, I know what they're gonna do. But I mean, yeah, there was just kind of this there was almost to me a little bit no spectacle of like, oh wow, that's cool, that's amazing. It was more like, everything's fine. But I will give it its credit that, damn, when you're traveling through the quantum realm, it made it look a lot better than Doctor Strange traveling anywhere.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange just travels through kaleidoscopes. But when Ant-Man travels, you see tardigrades, you see purple, you see yellow, you see
tardigrade
black, you see
fields.
crystals.
Yeah.
You see a lot of shit versus all the dimensions that Doctor Strange apparently traveled through. It looks like the same fucking bullshit. Anyways. So I thought it was good.
So,
That's an
Better than Doctor
initial
Strange.
reaction.
So that's Tom's initial reaction to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, but no, Josh.
I really, really enjoyed it. It had a couple of moments that I didn't enjoy, but as a movie, it was what, an hour and 40 minutes or something like that?
It's 2 hours.
2 hours. I really enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. To me, it is a good comedy. I think that it is a great palate cleanser in terms of what we've seen from the MCU recently, and a lot of what I have to say will happen in favorite moments and gushing and stuff like that. But I
So
walked
stay
out of it-
tuned.
So stay tuned. No, but I liked it so much that I didn't get up to go pee, and everybody knows that I have a small bladder.
What? Oh my God. That,
And
well
You
done.
have to go pee for his own wedding.
And B, I forgot about the snapping, and so when it happened in the mid-credit, I was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, shit.
oh yeah!" Like
I remember what that
event.
guy said.
Oh, what was it?
It was, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
was very upset.
Caitlin.
I liked this movie. I say it every time, and then I pause
It's not, no, it's
for dramatic
fine.
effect. I liked the jokes. I liked how they set things up and knocked it down. I'm very easy to please, honestly.
They do it, and you're like,
I'm like,
very easy to
yay, you
please."
did this joke, and I laughed at it.
"Go us."
I like when I really think about it, there were a couple spots that felt a little slow to me. But there was never any point where I was like, oh man, this movie is long. Like,
Yeah.
I never had a point where I was like taken out of the experience. So it was good, and I laughed, and I like Paul Rudd.
Yes.
Kunu.
And scene.
And scene.
Ollie Oxenfree.
So, Ollie, how much did you like Evangeline Lilly in this?
Oh, she's great. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of Evangeline Lilly.
Bay for Days.
Didn't know.
She's
Didn't
in
know
the
now.
Way back to Lost Days and all that good stuff. Let's just say me and her and going back to the island fantasies are a thing. Moving on.
What?
You heard it here first, folks.
Oh,
Oh.
so
But no, I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Actually. Did you think you weren't gonna like it?
Well, I had hesitations.
Jesus, Tom, you're calling everyone out on every single fucking thing they say.
He was out for a
Everything.
week. He's out
I
for a
have a
week.
third eyeball. I see everything. now.
Jesus.
I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan, going back to like Wet Hot American Summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even him on Friends and stuff like that. Evangeline Lilly did great. Michael Pena did great. Huge shout out to Randall Park. I think he killed it in this.
Yeah.
It was like he just gave the synopsis or like the exposition for like Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
in like 2 seconds, and it was
To the little girl?
brilliant. And
All right, honey?
also, by the way,
Jesus.
Abby Ryder, big shout out to her, the little
Oh.
girl.
Being able
Yes.
to keep
Oh,
up with
yeah.
Paul Rudd in a scene is
She
not
was-
an easy thing to do.
She was awesome.
She was
She
great.
was so good. Like the look on her face when like Giant Man showed up on
Yeah.
TV.
Oh yeah, and she was like,
And she's like, yeah.
Oh no, her delivery of "Don't forget, you're the world's greatest,
Greatest grandma.
Yeah.
was phenomenal because I had
Perfect.
forgotten. I thought she was gonna say dad, and I was like, "This is a really sweet."
Or when like
moment.
she was like, I'm your partner. Like I was like, oh, don't worry.
Little angel baby.
peanut.
No.
You just want to go
I'd
help
also
your
be the
dad.
worst dad in the world.
Yeah.
You're the greatest.
Having said that, I did have some issues with like the plot structure and like how things played out and their presentation of Evangeline Lilly. And this is where like I feel like it suffered from being the same reason Iron Man 3 suffered from it, from being like the cleanup crew from the last big movie.
Yeah.
And it's like you have this giant pile of dust and you have an itty bitty dustpan.
Aw.
It's like it's not going to work.
You have Ant-Man sized dustpan?
You had to go with dust.
Ant-Man dustpan.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's
But you know what?
upsetting.
You had to go with dust.
didn't
A
wanna-
big pile of dust.
Wow.
Here's Peter Parker.
Oh no! Oh, baby boy, I love you.
Mr.
Just
Stark.
want him to be happy. Don't you dare!
I don't feel so good.
No.
I'm sorry.
But so because of that, I feel like I wanted it to be a bit more heroic. Like I feel like it had the space to do that.
You wanted like an American flag in the background somewhere.
Well,
What?
like I wanted her to be like much more.
Oh,
into
yeah,
it. She
she-
was all like depresso at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I don't think she had to be that because they have this awesome lab, and I feel like if she was
That's some awesome what?
lab,
Oh yeah. I was like a lap? Like I have a good lap.
Great
It's
legs.
the best seat in the house,
great
baby.
legs. So like I feel like maybe if something happened to him, like maybe Walton Goggins or some other character, one of the other like 12 villains that were in this movie, came to like maybe try to abduct him, and then she had to like interfere, and like that could have been a bit more exciting way of kind of bringing him into it. And then I didn't love the fact that he was kind of like just along for the ride kind of thing and wanted to get out as fast as possible because
Here we go.
that was him in
Hold
Civil
on to the
War.
qualms. Hold on to the qualms.
Yeah.
We have a whole section for
But
it.
yeah, that's my first
pants are
reaction
getting too
of
tight.
like
Yeah. We're gonna get into it.
But,
we're
yeah,
treading the
like-
same line.
hilarious, laughed at it, had opportunities.
With that, we'll get into our favorite parts.
I know mine right off the bat.
All right, Corey, you go ahead.
I know it right off the bat, but you go ahead.
No.
I'm just kidding. When she inhabits Paul Rudd's body
Oh my god.
was possibly my favorite scene in the whole movie because he did it. I love Paul Rudd. You could go way over the top with it, but he towed the line. I thought
Yeah.
he towed the line really well, where you could still take. I was laughing through a lot of it, but the sentimental parts of it, I was still feeling them.
Yeah.
And that's acting on both sides. I mean, that's Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly and Michael Douglas. But I think that was, if you would have just taken that scene and shown that to me, I'd be like, that's great. I'm good. Thank you. I get it. This is a great movie. I loved it. I loved that scene from start to finish.
Jelly bean.
Yeah. And then holding his hand at the end, just like, what the fuck is going on? How did we get up here? Yeah, that was I think my favorite part of the whole movie. It's just such a simple thing, but I loved it. It reminded me of like Second City improv stuff. So
That was awesome.
For me, favorite parts, I think it has to be a cross between parts with Lawrence Fishburne because I thought he had good performances in there, and which is kind of sad because you get more performances out of him in Ant-Man versus performances in Batman vs Superman. Even though I thought he would have been he's a fucking great Perry White, but they just slept on him. And I think any parts with Paul Rudd and his kid Cassie,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think those are good parts.
That fort.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's
cool.
Something
That
that's
fort was
I want that now.
amazing.
Legit.
something that I've really started liking a lot that current comic book writers are doing is that specifically they have these like huge characters and for a while, like maybe in the early 2000s, they were just doing grand stories. And then now what they're doing a lot is a lot of like their home stories, like them helping out the little kids, like at-risk youths at like high schools. And this is like Superman, or like, you know, helping out, or like doing a whole perspective from like a dog. You know, like these cool, like more low level stories. Like Corey talked about it one time. We've had a conversation. This is a little bit of a tangent that he loved the movie Unbreakable because it has such a small scope to it. And the funny thing is that Ant-Man, in the sense of the scale of the danger in the world, is such a small scale, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a quantum realm and like losing a mom. But then it doesn't have to be the world ending.
It's all personal. Like, it's not a snapping, or it's not.
And so, like, but then even more so, the
taking over a
the
country.
intimate level, like, Scott just does not want to lose his daughter. I thought it was a little bit, like, it affected me more because the more humanity you can get with the character, the richer the stakes are going to be. Instead of like, we got to save the world. Who gives a fuck about the world? Like, it's just going to end. Like, it's like, if you give him like a person, a face, it's like, the world is the daughter. That's what matters. And so I like those parts. I thought those parts were well put together of like just showing the relationship. Because I was really like, fuck, I don't want this like to be like this kid being like, you're just gonna see all the funny parts. Like, no, there was an actual relationship I liked.
What about the sunglasses and a baseball hat is not a disguise?
Oh yeah, I do like that.
We look like ourselves at a baseball game.
Well, you know what happened? Well, that's why the snapping happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, whenever Disney likes to like look at the mirror every once in a while and be like, why are we wearing gloves? And it's like, oh shit.
Oh yeah. And that Goofy movie.
Extreme Goofy movie. One of the characters is like, you ever wonder why we're wearing gloves? You know, like Mickey and Goofy. That's so good.
Yeah.
When it becomes self-aware, it's great.
Josh.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a long day, y'all.
No. Well, the thing is that the movie was a lot of favorite parts. There are a lot of moments that I just really loved. If I had to pick favorites, it'd probably Michael Pena's anytime he's explaining.
Oh my God, yes.
Just
I'm
makes
so glad they
me
brought that back.
laugh.
Especially with Truth Serum. That whole movie
Oh,
was
the
great
truth
too.
serum.
Essentially like the truth serum thing, like, and then Ghost showing up and being like, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
He's
like, "Oh, shit."
woods, Baba Yaga. Well, she's like, because you can tell what was so funny is that they're all reacting to it, and then she shows up, and you can tell her reaction is just like theirs, but she has been holding back and going, "Fuck! They're in the forest. Thank you."
She's
Now I'm
she's been invisible for the last 10 minutes.
Anything with Cassie, I loved. I really loved any time. Okay, so Evangeline Lilly.
Bay for day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
No, but let me explain. So
More for Ollie.
I did not
Hang
like
on,
her
let
in
me guess.
Lost. I did not like her in Lost.
Fair enough.
And when her career
Ollie's quiet
reawakened
rage.
kind of with the Hobbit movies, I liked her in that.
Yeah.
And then when she's kind of shown up in the Marvel movies, it's reawakened. And I'm like, okay, she's cool. I like her in these. I did not like her
She's
in
badass
Lost.
in this.
But yeah, I loved any moment that she was on screen, and maybe
Okay.
I was misunderstanding like kind of what you were kind of describing. You were wishing she was more heroic, or
I'll get into it. We'll get
Okay,
into it. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Josh, did you check your baggage before you got in the airport? But like, you didn't have it. You're good. I was like, damn, dude. Damn, bringing lost problems into this. Lost problems.
Could you imagine? I didn't like her in this because I didn't like her in Lost. Thank you.
Whoa.
That is all.
No, but I loved watching her kick ass. Her in the ghost fight.
Yeah.
So good.
I liked her losing the little bowl cut hair.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah.
I mean, even though it's like
Oh,
very
it's-
like reminiscent of like the time. I was
It's-
like,
I mean, it's how the
No.
comic book character
Yeah.
is drawn.
so it's like Thor losing his hair. It's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Another
What?
anytime
Would you
Ghost
say?
is on.
What did he say? Losing his hair allowed him to act.
He actually felt like he was an actor.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Wow.
He's
Chris,
like, oh,
Chris Hemsworth. He said he didn't have to feel like he was like putting up a show.
Oh,
He
okay.
could actually just act.
he could just be Thor.
Anytime
Anyways.
Ghost was on screen, I
You
was like, wow. That just from like just watching it, just
Visually speaking.
visually speaking, I was like, but I really did like the character of Ghost.
Yeah.
But just watching it, I was like, I wish I were, and this comes from the post-production nerd in me, I really wish I was in the editing room, in the effects room,
To see how.
just to see how they did
Did you
that.
notice sometimes, you know how it like trails her and kind of gets ahead of her?
Yeah.
There's a few scenes where you see a shadow that looks like it's behind her, but it's actually her 10 seconds in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it's not just either behind or ahead of her. It can sometimes be later in the scene as well,
Yeah.
which I thought was wonderful.
The amount of drifting that they probably had to do and all that kind. Anyway,
Some of it was also not even something that she did too.
Oh yeah, I
like,
didn't notice that even.
There
You
were
saw something happen, but then it.
Yeah.
It's like a different
Follow
timeline.
through with it.
Like a different timeline occurred because there were a couple times where like I saw an emotion would come through. They'd have it there for like a split second, but her in like absolute rage mode was there. And I remember
Yeah.
my brain going
Oh, wow.
off trailing of like, oh man, she probably had to record, like film so many things of all these random different emotions. And
Yeah.
like, cause
I would love to. I want to go back and watch that.
yeah,
now
oh
and pay
no, you
attention to that.
definitely
Yeah.
should, because she has these moments where you see her like teeth baring rage mode
But then
and like rolling her eyes and going away. Like there's so much that's happening there that's amazing.
I gotta check that out.
That was super cool. I really
Sorry to
liked
cut you off there, Josh.
No,
I just got on a tangent with Caitlin. It was
it.
great.
Ghost was really neat.
Yeah, she was cool.
Well, no, it was a part of my
High five.
my
High five.
point. So
I gave Corey one. Wait, Tom just
wow,
high
Tom's
five
interject
blocked.
so we
All right.
so we can continue with the favorite parts.
Worst month
Kaylin, go.
ever.
I heard her.
I liked this movie.
Well, what
That's your
parts did
favorite
you
parts?
like the most?
I really did like. Oh God, I'm really bad with the names.
Ghost.
Justin Pena. It was Justin
Michael.
Pena.
Michael
Michael Pena.
So, I'm really bad. I'm sorry.
Luis.
You just call him the Mexican guy if you want to be
I
like that.
can't do that.
Okay.
You want my cheat
What?
sheet?
Oh, you
Oh,
have
the
it up.
character? Yeah, the character's Luis.
Luis. I really, really love Luis. And the truth serum bit. That was probably one of my favorite moments. Also, just from Ghost being like, "Thank you. I've waited just like 10 minutes to hear
Yeah.
you spill it all."
Where's he emotionally?
That all of that was great.
And then Penny
Everything
the
about
Russian
that.
guy. Baba Yaga.
And I like that Paul Rudd is all of us in
Yeah.
that movie. He like every time he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna recommend."
That's
Like,
what I was
that's
thinking.
that's what I was thinking just now. And because for the audience, we're all like, I
It's
don't
the same
know
thing
where
Tom
you
was
said.
talking about. Like, why are we wearing gloves? Like, become self-aware that the language you're using, 90% of the audience won't understand.
Yeah, no, not at
So
all.
put someone in there to make fun of it.
Yeah, and Paul Rudd is that throughout the entire movie, and he's just kind of haplessly being.
I
a
did like that they
superhero.
were consistent with the phrasing too. Like it was always, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes,
Every
yeah.
time. 2 minutes later, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And oh man. In particular moments, the drive-in with the moth.
Oh,
Oh, at the very
That
end.
was cute.
I don't know why, but it tickled me that
Oh.
he's like, moth dust. Like, how many times have you had to deal with this, Paul Rudd? How many times have you had to deal with moth dust in your life?
Did anyone else have that Hot Wheels container? 'Cause
Yes.
I used to.
My friend did.
So seeing that made me very excited.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it made me want to go home and be like, Mom, did the cars get back? Did you
I
not
almost
tell me?
wanted to have a chase scene like in a Hot Wheels track.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Fast and
that'd be
Furious
cool.
style.
That'd be great.
Any other favorite parts, Caitlin?
Oh, the movie.
Okay.
Cool.
Ollie?
it's a
Ollie.
movie.
Movie.
I'm inclined to say
Evangeline
the
Jolie.
truth serum section.
Okay.
It was so good.
Just like one that made me laugh a lot was whenever Evangeline Lilly had to
Oh, say the parts.
say the parts.
And she's like, no,
she's
dog, that's
I'm
not
all
cool.
business, like with her haircut, like that.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Oh my
killed me.
god. I
I'm afraid
literally
he's gonna mess
spaced
it
out
up.
about that entire aspect. Like I was just thinking of like
Him as a
the
character.
interactions with Luis and the
Yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
room.
But
I
their
forgot
actual,
all
like,
about it.
The
portrayals of
voiceover.
it.
Oh my god, it was great.
Not only that, but did you notice that Paul Rudd had to do that bounce shot again and then do another take of him
Oh, yeah,
doing the
and
Luis?
missing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
So that was good, and then I really like that, like basically any of the fights with the Wasp, like in there,
yeah.
shrinking, getting big.
The
like,
salt shaker and stuff.
Yeah, like during the one in particular, I think I really enjoyed was the one in the car chase scene where she had
Yeah.
to like go in between the cars and stuff.
You
like
mean the
that.
trailer?
Yeah.
Where she bounces into the. It's a really cool sequence,
yeah.
but it's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer.
It's much longer
I
than
like
the
it.
movie, though.
Yeah. it's
Oh, well,
longer
they
than
actually
it.
cut parts out too, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they don't. They don't have. Okay.
And then one little small thing I really enjoyed, and just like one of those little movie detail things, the last time the building gets big, the handle is still up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was a
this
wonderful
giant
little
handle.
touch.
She wasn't going to wait. She was like, fuck it.
Yeah. So that just made me chuckle.
Oh my gosh.
Shit
What
hurts.
if a like low flying plane hit that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it did.
That's the
That's
danger. That's why he said, "Don't do it, no," and then he should do it anyway.
That makes sense. That he would be
makes sense.
concerned.
So I liked seeing that kind of like massive impact to the world.
Yeah.
Like just giant building.
I have one other favorite part of mine.
I have one too.
Okay.
We're gonna
first?
keep discovering
Go
them,
first.
I feel.
I was just gonna say.
And then if we have more, just bring them up.
Is it the cop when at the end
Randall
when they're
Park?
releasing him, and
Randall
he's like,
Park, yeah.
but do you want to go
Do you
get
want to
dinner?
go dinner?
No. That
Mine was when he's giant and he's riding the truck like a scooter, and the
Yeah.
guy pulls out a gun and he goes boink and flicks
it
the
out.
gun away. I laughed way harder than I should have at that. Because I was like, oh yeah, what about guns? And then he did that. I was like, that's what he does about guns. Cool. Great. But yeah,
bullet would
I
be
think that's
so
good for favorite
tiny.
parts.
Oh,
None of us brought up many when he was like middle sized.
Child
the
size.
school
The
heist.
string cheese and
Oh my-
juice box bit.
Yeah.
Do
Do you actually have those?
Do you actually have
like
those?
yes, I know, because
Yeah.
I would totally want those two things.
Yeah.
I
Do you
actually,
actually have those?
Yeah.
I actually really liked the giant ants.
Yeah.
I liked them
Yeah.
a lot.
You did.
I
The
did.
way they were used to like, I'm gonna need you. To
Well, because in the
breathe.
comic books, a lot of times he actually is like miniaturized and he's working with ants and they're giant sized. Instead, they did in the movie where it's like opposite, where you can make it big, so
Flipped.
make the ants big. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I just liked how this movie tried to develop the technology in a bigger application.
Oh, what
So
about all those ants that got eated?
I was very not okay during that
I was
period of
very
time.
sad.
I was like, okay, it's whatever. Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
All those names crack me
Grant
up.
Ulysses.
Can I ask like a
That's Grant.
sad I've said sad, but a side question.
Okay.
A
Can I ask
sad
a really sad question? Why do people die?
Oh no!
Because you touch yourself at night, Billy.
Oh no! Nerd
because
on.
I've never read like an Ant-Man related comic book, like where he's even a character. So of course you have two versions of Ant-Man.
Hank Pym and Scott Lang.
Scott Lang. How are the relations in terms of the original material? Like
Very different.
Yeah. Okay.
Very different. Hank Pym is like, so in the first movie, throwback, Hank Pym becomes Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
And he has a Yellow Jacket outfit. Hank Pym is Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, and Giant Man. All of them.
Wow.
And then Bill Foster, Lawrence Fishburne's character's play, is Black Goliath. And so he ingested Pym particles. And Pym particles is what allows him to shrink and get big, all that shit.
Yes.
And so he actually has like a meta ability to get big and small.
Yeah.
But like Hank Pym,
I was gonna say
Hank-
Hope Van Dyne is actually a villain.
yeah. And Hank Pym created Ultron.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Hank Pym created
Not Iron
Ultron.
Man.
Not Iron Man. Hank Pym is also kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not a lot of people like him. Like in terms of like the smartest people in the world, Hank Pym's part of them,
Mhm.
but he's not on Reed Richards level. Reed Richards like, I know about space, time, and our Earth. Iron Man just knows about Earth. Hank Pym just knows about like molecules.
And
Yeah.
he's kind of arrogant as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
you kind of get that from Michael Douglas that he's arrogant as fuck.
yeah. But Scott Lang is a little bit true to form. But the thing I really liked about this film, what they try to do and continue, was the fact that Scott Lang is kind of like a criminal, and he is kind of like running from the law in a little bit. He's like almost equivalent to like what DC characters know as like Plastic Man. And Plastic Man's like a super powerful character, but he was a criminal. He's a reformed criminal.
I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, so I liked how they kept that here because it still kept that like I can't do this, I can't do that. It's the squirrely hero, like Aladdin, who's kind of
Yeah.
like, I'm against the law, but I'm also a really good guy. So
Yeah.
Favorite character, favorite side character?
did that answer your question, Josh?
Yeah.
So favorite character.
I've always been curious about how's it related.
So favorite character, favorite side character. Favorite character probably be actually Hank Pym. I actually was not like overall in terms of like where I wanted everyone to be with my own expectations. Hank Pym was like there for that, and then side characters probably Michael Pena.
Yeah,
Luis.
that's good. Favorite main character. It's tough, man, because they all have their different aspects. I like Evangeline Lilly, especially when she's the Wasp. Like though, anytime she was suited up and doing things
She handled her shit.
was probably my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
My favorite side character would have to be either Michael Pena or Randall Park for me. Honorable mention goes to that little
Hold
girl.
on, real quick. I just
Goes
want
to that little girl.
to do a little shout out to Randall Park. I don't know if where you guys might have saw might have been The Office or might have been like
The Office. Asian
Mine
Jim.
was the interview.
or the interview or Fresh Off the Boat. But I saw him coming off of YouTube. And he was a YouTube actor and he worked with Wong Fu Productions.
Oh yeah.
And he did a short film called Fast. And it was about a dude who got a blue car and just liked to drive really fast, but he kept stopping at stop signs. And it was really cool to see his growth and like how he started then like having these bit roles in Wong Fu stuff, online stuff. And then all of a sudden he was like, yo, he's like a small reoccurring character in other things. And then all of a sudden he's in The Office. And then he like it was a really big thing for like Asian community, where like
Yeah.
to see like some guy who was like a YouTube actor and he's a grown ass
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
and being a YouTube actor, and then later on break into TV.
He was great
and
in
now
this,
he's
yeah.
in the MCU.
Yeah, he was. I mean, every line he had with, especially his chemistry with Paul Rudd was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a great rapport together.
I'm like,
on
I wanted
screen.
them to go out to dinner together.
I know that part where they catch Hank and Hope, and he's like, "Yes, look, I'm sorry, I know you know them, but I really needed a win," and walks away. It was like, it was killer. So yeah, so main character is Wasp, and then
Randall Park,
Michael Pena, Randall Park, and then my honorable mention's that little girl because
Cassie. Yeah,
she could keep a scene with Paul Rudd,
yeah Cassie
a
was
comedy
around.
scene like that's hard to do. Dude is
Yeah.
like top 10
Very.
in comedy.
Josh.
Paul Rudd every day, all day. I loved Scott Lang, but I'm a sucker for Paul Rudd. Like,
Yeah.
anything that he does, I'm
that's
gonna
great.
watch, and so anytime he was on the screen. But it's hard because I really like Ghost.
Yeah,
I really because it was I love
she's in Tomb Raider.
She's also in Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I enjoyed. Well, you know, what's so funny is I liked her in this more than I did in Ready Player One. Like,
Well, because
was
she has a way bigger role in this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, and you read the book of Ready Player One, but like
But
for
no. It had nothing to do with that.
Oh.
It was just watching her on screen and
okay.
just her character. But Ghost, she
It's fascinating.
was fascinating.
But
and
also, you were sympathetic.
You're
It's and that's the cool thing. Like Marvel is starting to get into the groove of like these are villains that you care about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're not
Like-
just
Then you
Yeah,
have
guys,
Walton
anything.
Goggins for.
yeah.
And my favorite side character is going to be Cassie. The whole movie, I was like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
go that girl. Anytime she was on screen, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm done.
Caitlin.
I like the movie.
I like the movie.
All the characters are my favorite.
All the characters are my favorite, and I love them.
I like Antonio Banderas.
She did.
Oh man, I did. But
Millisecond.
for the millisecond he was alive. I did really like Janet a lot, the mom. I think she would be considered a main, right?
Nah.
Maybe.
I would say no because she's only got like 10 minutes of screen time top.
She's got less screen time than Robert Downey Jr. had in Spider-Man.
Then I'd say Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd with Ghost coming in as a real close second.
Yeah.
And then the side character would be Janet then.
Okay.
Just because she like
She survived the quantum
in
realm for 30
quantum realm
years?
for 30 years.
And she turned her wings into like a badass like spear weapon.
Sword.
Yeah.
And she like knew about, she's like, oh yeah, don't get stuck in a time vortex. We'll never get you out. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know that? Why do you know that?
Well,
Why do you know about the tardigrade
so
fields?
do you know about that, Ollie? About the quantum realm?
Not,
In
no.
Marvel universe. So the quantum realm actually holds a power. It's not power cosmic. Power cosmic is something with Galactus, but cosmic something. It's cosmic powers of shit. And that power can be imbued in other people. And most notably, it was imbued to like Spider-Man.
Oh.
And it was Spider-Man, like he literally like beat the shit out of Galactus. And
Oh.
Galactus eats planets, and he's part of the like is Celestials, Eternals, and he's like these greater beings. And it's like universal power, like ability to bend reality.
Oh. And
And-
Spider-Man had that?
Spider-Man had that shit. And the
Oh.
thing is, like, it allows people to go, like, fly, go through space, travel the speed of lights, all this shit, right? And that's where she spent 30 years in. And that's where it gets housed. And that's really weird that, like, a power over the universe is actually within this tiny little like, reality, like this tiny little quantum realm. So that's really kind of a cool thing that when I saw her, she started building those powers.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is everybody going to see the power?
See, I
We gotta
feel
see it
that
for a
way,
sec.
but without knowing the history about it. I'm like excited because I know that they're gonna definitely bring that up later, and I don't know how, but I'm excited because
Like,
it looks cool.
I believe it's almost like on par with like Beyonder powers, and Beyonder power like has omniscience,
Yeah.
and so it's like you can know what's going on around the world and all that shit. So it's a lot of cool shit.
Quantum realm for 30 years, a week out, and you get snapped.
why did you? That's fucked up, Corey. That's fucked up.
No, it is. I didn't write it. That's true. Ali?
Ollie.
Favorite character is Hope.
Oh,
Is that a surprise?
No.
No,
I said
you,
Wasp.
you
but said
did.
Hope.
You
Okay.
did
Same
sound
diff, fair
surprised, but
6 and 1.
And Cassie is my side character.
All right.
I could have
she-
guessed those a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just killed it.
Shout out to that bathtub and ant though.
Yes, that was super cute.
It was great.
So Kwame Quams.
Kwame
Let's turn on that beat. Drop that
Ali,
DJ Quams in the house.
We're gonna pass it to you first because you already started.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I feel
makes
like
sense.
Yeah, you started.
We're
hinting at
towing the
your
same
qualms.
line, so I think it's pretty much what I'm gonna say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of like going back
picking up what you're putting
to
down.
my earlier points, like I think it suffers from a couple things, but these parts I love. Like I love like hearing about
For
what
better or for
happened.
worse, these
For better
things
for
happen.
worse, yeah. Like it's a double-edged sword where I love hearing about what happened after Civil War, and I love that it's the comedy, lighthearted thing. But because of those two things, wasn't able to live up to the potential that those characters and those storylines like could present.
Can you be a little specific of like what characters?
Yeah. So for me, number
Yes,
one,
I can.
100%.
I'm just
Here
doing
we
an
go.
interview, guys.
no, for
I just
me,
like his answer.
it was the Wasp. So Wasp, original Avengers character, member, right, from the comics.
Yep.
They weren't able to put Ant-Man or that into the original Avengers movie. I think Joss Whedon even wanted it to happen,
Well, it's probably because they're doing the
but they were holding off on it because of they wanted it to be its own movie later on.
They only wanted guys.
What's that?
Just kidding.
There's
They only, yeah.
Black
I get
Widow.
it. Yeah. The one.
But this was being like, this was like, it's funny. Like I saw a video online where it did a comparison of like Iron Man 1 and Ant-Man 1. And they even have like the last scene where the assistant character or whatever looks back at the suit and is like, next time, baby. Like Terrence Howard does that. But
Yep.
she looks at her suit and is like, finally, or whatever.
Yeah.
So like I was hoping for a lot more, well, across the whole movie, I was hoping for a lot more like action scenes. And like, cause I feel like the actions was like kind of quick and not enough of it. And I was hoping that it would be, you know, more amped up as like, I was hoping like the Wasp would be more of an amped up, awesome character. Like she almost had been doing things while he was in house arrest or whatever, and like not having to be on the run and not having to be all like her hair disheveled and stuff like that. So that, I mean, that's where I wish was a little bit different, just so I could like enjoy it more and be more like popcorny in a way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And then, yeah, I think.
Did you want a little bit
You
more
said
Michael Bay
Ant-Man.
for your Bay?
Was a little too along for the ride.
Yeah. And Ant-Man was, again, he was always like, I gotta get back home. I'm in house arrest. And he wasn't a hero on his own, really.
So
for
should
most
it
of
have been the Wasp? Oh yeah,
So-
and Ant-Man.
That's one of my my issues.
Pretty much.
Because what was the opening sequence? Michael
opening
Douglas
sequence-
is talking to Evangeline Lilly about like, hey, we can find your mom.
Yeah.
And then it's like ends. I was like, so is this the Wasp movie?
Yeah.
Like you establish film language. You establish your main character at the beginning. That's what you're supposed to. A lot of people play with it and do it for good reasons. Like sometimes you start with the Joker, or whatever.
I mean, the
right?
reason I liked this is that opening is because then you're like, okay, that's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Great.
But then it starts
Plot
out,
wise.
it starts out with Evangeline Lilly and Hank Pym.
Some
which,
other-
which made it feel like it should have been a little bit more about them.
Yeah. So that was mainly it. And then I had some other qualms with the villains, quote unquote. Walton Goggins, love the actor. He's great at almost everything he does. I felt like his character was kind of like tacked on and unnecessary. Like even like at a
Sonny
certain
Birch.
point, even Hope like says, "Oh, not these
this
guys
guys
again." Like
And that's how I felt.
yeah,
Yeah, I felt
that's
the same
exactly.
way.
So she was almost like speaking for the audience in a weird way.
Not necessarily that he wasn't great,
Right.
but the fact that his motivation is, oh, my investors,
Yeah.
which we never see. we
He's a
never
very
find out.
one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I get it, and it works to pivot that you feel more sympathetic to Ghost and Lawrence Fishburne's character, because then you're like, well, they're not assholes like these guys.
The cool thing that it does, but then it's kind of like again, it's kind of like what I talked about with Last Jedi. How they made Kylo Ren cooler because they just made General Hux stupider. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially it's
so
like
they made Ghost more relatable, and okay, she's going to kidnap Cassie, and like, oh, I could kind of be okay because Walton Goggins, Sonny Birch, literally plays a character. It's like, well, he is literally like the cartoon main character bad guy.
Yeah.
And so you can just
Yeah.
tell that Bill Foster and Ava are victims.
Yeah.
yeah.
So to show that, yeah,
My other issue was with a kind of a technicality and a missed opportunity for Ghost's motivations. Like she, like Hank caused her dad's death, right?
Well, he
Essentially, or like
technically, yeah.
technically.
Byproduct. He fired him and ruined his name. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So then he was like, I'm going to show the world that I'm not a hack.
Exactly.
And
So
then
like
he hacked it.
in villain terms, if I was a villain, I would reduce it to you killed my dad. Like
Yeah.
your dad killed my dad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or your so I almost feel like she could have had a revenge plot where she was like, I'm gonna destroy someone you love and go after Janet for that reason. And it happens to also heal me. But that was like left out. And then she just looked like a murderous psychopath who didn't care that if she killed another person's life to fix her own life.
Oh, you have my permission to die.
So I had an issue with that where like,
yeah, because she kind of
was
walked
like-
that line of like, I don't care because she could have said, I don't care because of A, B, and C.
right.
But
That-
they felt very separate.
And
Is that what you're
because of that, I was like, okay, so you don't care about
Other
like
life.
human life or like what's going on?
I don't know. I was actually sympathetic to her not caring that she had to rip someone else apart.
Yeah.
Because it was like well, they'll only get ripped apart once. Like I have to keep getting ripped apart forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that.
And
Like
she's in pain all the time.
right. It's,
It's
kind
the
of like
Hugh Laurie thing.
if someone
House.
was if someone's in pain, like they're not gonna think right.
Mhm.
And even then, she does stop herself, like, and she was being pretty tame with being like, I'm just going to kidnap Cassie. She wasn't going to be like, I'm going to slit her throat in front of her dad. Like,
No. Well, she didn't stop herself.
Hold that one.
No,
because
but-
Lawrence Fisher
I
was
have
like,
a-
I'm not
you
going to
have
help
some
you
for it? Okay.
if you do that. And then she's
right.
like, fine, all
But she did still have parameters, though. Like, she didn't push past it and be like, you're going to help me or I'm going to put my fist in your heart.
Yeah.
Like, she did have
like a true
some.
badass.
Right. You're
through your
right.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
through your throat.
I think Janet, there could have been an opportunity for like Janet to come in and be a badass with her powers.
Hold on to that.
I want that. I want that a lot.
But you know, that's the other thing where it's like, okay, the movie has to end at a certain point.
They
you
got to
know,
put all the
so
women
like,
in the corner for some reason.
like maybe if they brought on, I don't know, like somebody to do one more pass on the script, some like Edgar Wright or something. I don't know.
Ah.
Wow.
For
had
those of
to-
you
I
who
had to
don't
slip
know,
his name in.
Edgar Wright
I
was
don't.
supposed to write. I think they
No, he wrote
Ant-Man
and
1.
he was
slated to direct,
slated to direct,
Yeah.
write, and produce Ant-Man 1.
which is,
and
he
then-
did, for those of you who don't know who Edgar Wright is, he did Shaun of the Dead.
Scott
He did
Pilgrim versus the
the World.
Which he's
World
great,
of
but
the
I
universe.
did find out which parts were changed from the Edgar Wright script, and they were all from my interpretation is I feel like they were all changed for the better. So,
But I
there
mean-
is that to it too.
You know, you give the same script to Christopher Nolan, you give it to Zack Snyder, it's going to be two different films.
Yeah.
Yes.
You give it to Edgar Wright, it's going to be
You
edited
give
way
someone else an
differently.
Edgar Wright script, it's going to be a different movie.
Yeah. You don't have to have a ham-fisted exposition.
Right.
So,
A couple, few.
but Caitlin, Quam,
My quams.
or as Ollie says it in Ollie World, gripey grips,
Gripey grips.
Gripey gripes.
gripey grapes.
That's gonna be my T-shirt.
No,
I wasn't a fan of ghosts. Like, they trained me and I killed for them.
Oh.
I didn't really get that as much. And maybe it's just that I missed
Kind
something.
of the whole like Winter Soldier vibe.
yeah,
I was like, why is this happening right now? Like,
was S.H.I.E.L.D.?
because Shield found her.
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s a piece of shit. That's why.
okay, that's just the blanket.
Yeah, I
then?
mean, that's, I mean, to be honest, I mean, honestly,
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s a piece
yeah,
of
they
shit.
So-
use people like that's the whole reason that Civil War.
Well, also,
right.
well, in the comic books, that's why Civil War happened because Maria Hill's like the one that's like, yo, Sokovia Accord, or whatever the fuck Accords, Superhuman Registration Act now. But in the MCU level, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson's character, the whole reason why there's no more S.H.I.E.L.D. is because of pretty much him. Because he sanctioned the idea of like, yeah, we're going to build tri-carriers and they're going to hover all over the world. And Captain
Wait,
America has
Yeah,
huge discussions
to
like,
protect the world. He wanted
he says-
those all over the world.
yeah, he's like, the people who like to try to prevent crime or prevent evil is the cause of evil. Like that's what happens. You shoot before you try to protect, and that's what Shield really is. Like it's a shield, not a
Right.
sword. And there's another fucking organization called
That's a
Sword.
thing. Yeah.
Um,
Told me about that.
but yeah, and so like Shield gets destroyed because of arrogance, like that hubris, and Hydra just infiltrates it all. And so, I mean, there's inclination that like Shield has been influenced by Hydra ever since Captain America was in the World War II.
Hydra's basically Nazis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hydra is
Yeah.
super evil. And so I mean like, but that's the big thing with big government and in special ops and black ops and in X-Men universe, that's why there's Weapon X program and they fucking did experiments and did fucked up shit.
But to your point, I think they could have been more creative with that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll just borrow from Winter Soldier.
That would have been fine.
Yeah.
I would have loved it if we just got a little flashback of like someone holding a red book and like speaking 2 words or to something.
I would have
Something.
hated that.
Or like maybe they tested on her
something
instead
to-
or something
to
like
show.
that. Or tried to harness her for energy.
Yeah, I feel like she was just too compliant.
Were they
like,
promising her a cure maybe?
Yeah, they
I
were.
kinda
They
think.
They
were.
But you think about that. That's
I
a
mean-
flaw. Kill for us with your super cool power, and we're gonna retire you the way you want. That's
Yeah,
and that's
that-
why I was like, that's stupid. You
But
should
then they
never.
were never giving her a key.
Yeah, but then she's a kid, right? So how's she ever gonna
That's a good
realize
point.
that? But also, I mean, she's a kid, so she's probably gonna get shocked and make a joke, right? Anyways, the difference actually in the comic books with the Ghost character
Mm-hmm.
is that some dude who worked at an IT company, like the identity is actually never known.
Or a girl.
of Ghost
girl.
in the
Ghost.
comics.
Yeah, it's more commonly a dude.
Yeah.
More commonly, it's just a
Huh.
dude, and he became like a anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was a
He's
villain.
technically
Became
an
a-
Iron Man villain.
Yeah, he's more an
He
Iron Man
worked at
villain.
Stark.
Industries.
Yeah, and then Stark builds technology where he can actually like grab them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's more like there's not that much to that
But,
character.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying about that though.
Yeah, it
else?
just happened really fast, and I was like, you.
So maybe would you
I
say-
was more sympathetic with her before
Yeah.
when she was like, I'm okay with ripping this person apart because like
I'm in pain.
it's gonna happen once, and I've been in pain for years, and
Would you
like
say
they'll
that
just die.
You would have enjoyed it more if they had either not taken the time to do it or taken a little more time to explain
A
stuff.
little more time. I would have preferred more time.
I agree with that
Honestly, a
sentiment.
couple more sentences probably would have fixed it.
Yeah. Or one more fucking scene.
Yeah.
just a shot. Probably
Like,
her
Take
isolated.
out Walton Goggins' character and just more about Ghost.
Yeah. Also, I really didn't like Pem. Is that his
Pym.
last name?
Hank Pym?
Pym.
Michael Douglas.
Hank Pym.
I'm bad at names, guys.
No, it's okay.
We know this.
Hank Pym.
Hank Pym. When he's like, my heart. And everyone like
Stopped.
stopped.
And freaked out. I was like,
and
save him.
freaked out, and they like he was like, oh my god, even though I really hate him, I don't want my like colleague friend to die. And he's like, fuck you, just kidding.
Oh,
like,
I loved that. I mean, he's threatening to rip his wife apart.
I get that.
if someone
but
threatened to rip
still,
Dana apart, I would fake a heart attack to get her out of it.
I know. I just don't like that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
You don't have to.
What don't you like about it?
I don't know. I
It felt like
Because I don't.
It was like
I'm
too
trying
like
to
a-
understand your qualm.
I
Like you thought it was too silly. Like it was
not
too.
Well,
not silly.
I feel
Not
like to your
silly.
point, it's like a hero, and he's doing kind of like
Yeah,
a,
he's-
like a
he's-
shady move.
He's
to
doing
get
a
out of it.
shady move.
Okay.
It's,
Like
it's
instead of
more
like a
than it's just
heroic
shady.
thing, like you.
And I
don't know why
get that
keep
he
bringing it
was.
up.
I understand that it's totally just like he didn't see any other option but to like trick his friend, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, they aren't friends,
personally,
remember?
Right.
They hadn't
At that-
talked in.
at that
They hadn't
point.
talked in 30 years or 20 years.
His former
Old associate.
colleague.
Bill Foster. Black.
And I understand the stakes and everything. I just didn't like the shadiness of the move. I'm not saying that it wasn't like the
Yeah.
only thing that they could have done at the time.
I dig it.
It was shady and I didn't like it.
Yeah. For
like,
me,
oh, he's old,
For
then
me,
he must
because I understand.
take a heart attack.
I understand
Yeah.
fundamentally where you're coming from.
Yeah.
For me, I liked it because Scott Lang is all about that. Like he's a cat burglar, and he's all about
But she just didn't like that for
tactics and-
Pym.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a different character.
So I liked that he jumped in on it though. That he immediately was like, "Help him!"
Yeah.
Josh.
No, you go first. You always go last.
Okay.
I want.
So
I'll go
Mix it up
last.
a little
I'll
bit.
go last.
Ooh.
I went first for Jurassic World, so I'll go last.
my qualms for it, I feel like it should have been a Wasp movie, just a Wasp movie. Like this had all the right proper fundamentals to be a Wasp movie, and the way they did Scott Lang, where he was like along for the ride, I played a passenger seat. He wasn't like they wrote it in a way where like he got dragged into it.
Yeah.
He got dragged into it because of something he did. And I think that's fine. You can drag your characters into it all the time. That's like fucking Wizard of Oz. She got fucking thrown into Wonderland.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck it's
Wizard
called.
of Oz.
Whatever, Oz.
Oz.
But like have him take more agency into what he's become.
Yeah.
Like become the hero that you need to be. Like that's what Iron Man, the start of Marvel was supposed to be. Is like some heroes are born, this hero is built. Like build your hero into the world that you're in. So it's like to see him kind of be like, I gotta go. But like I loved seeing him like face the consequences and feel like shit. Like, yeah, that's what fucking happens.
Like I wanted him because he's clever. He's like a robber or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
He's a cat burglar, yeah.
So like I would have loved to see him because he held onto the suit for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, but even they kind of even deflate that reason a little bit where he's like, you built it, so I didn't destroy it. Like that was like, okay, you just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But like I wanted him to hold on to it because that that hero part of him told him to keep it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he could have even devised a way to get his ankle bracelet off.
Yeah.
Like be that clever thief or that clever robber that would have figured that out.
If you could
on
break
his own.
into Hank Pym's place, you could figure out an ankle bracelet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are the hero again. You take your suit out, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Also, weren't they like the ex-con thing? Wasn't that like security tech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So couldn't
Yeah.
they probably really easily figure that
Started a
out?
security company.
Anti-security, yeah. But I felt like actually there was a missed opportunity with Ava and Jane because they had both been suffering for such a long period of time through quantum things.
Yeah.
That there could have been something more. Like there could have been a longer explanation of like there's ghosts are going on, and so it's like you wouldn't believe what's going on out there. It's like, all right, fucking just get that line out of the way. But you know, like have like a relationship because like Ava's suffering for the last like 20 odd years of her life, and then Jane has been suffering for the last 30 years of her life.
Yeah.
So instead of having to be like, boom, she's healed, good, I'm done, Deus Ex Machina, I'm out. It's like you could have had like a relationship grow.
That would have been, yeah.
Because of the fact that they were building Ghost up to be like this more sympathetic character, and she in this universe is an anti-hero, like nurture it. Don't have her do a fucking Baron Mord or Chiwetel Ejiofor and just
So
put
you
him at
wanted
the
a
end.
better connection between Ghost and Janet.
There really should have been more of that because like that's like you have two people who are now victims of Hank Pym shit.
Yeah.
Of Hank Pym technology. And that was kind of like this reoccurring thing that there's victims of Hank Pym technology.
Yeah.
And I
To
really
reduce
like
it to reduce it to a point that I don't even agree with, you could say that it's only called Ant-Man because like to be recognizable as a character,
Yeah.
and then like
It's like Batman
It's
versus
not even
Superman
focusing
instead of
on
being
him.
called a Superman 2.
Well,
it's like
it's
it could have been a
also-
Wasp movie.
Was she? I
When
would
they-
argue that Janet isn't quite a victim.
Well, I mean, she chose to do it, but the thing is, like, she now has
do it.
experience that everyone else does not.
Yeah, that I agree with.
So,
That
yeah,
I agree with.
I mean,
but I wouldn't
diff-
call her a victim.
Same
yeah.
thing, different verbiage.
I was gonna say something that I keep thinking of with saying that it's more of a Wasp movie. Do you guys like Spyro? The game Spyro?
Yeah.
Do you know about the Skylanders games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you not like them?
I just don't like what they did to Spyro.
Have you played them?
I've played one
You didn't
with
like
my
it?
cousins.
What's the.
I just loved Spyro so much, and it's
I
just a
understand.
completely different
I understand.
style of game.
I was very offended when it was like Spyro Skylanders Adventure,
Oh,
but that did get me into the game and then into a completely, basically new
yeah. If I
game
took it as not a
series.
Spyro game, I think I would have had fun. But I was waiting for that like
Spyro game.
same type of levels and stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
But I feel like it was the same general thing where it's like, hey, this thing that you know and love is in this thing, so you should go see it for that.
oh,
Because
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
it probably just they were trying to make it more palatable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what other, aside from Wonder Woman, what other like lady superhero movie have we had?
We haven't. Well, Elektra, but I wouldn't call that a
Yeah,
movie.
no. In the current universe, we haven't.
So it could just be that
Underworld.
they were making it more palatable. It could be that was
to
already
put
the
butts
title.
into seats because it is like I'm gonna just poke it out.
You love
there.
more of what
Well,
you-
no, it's a male ran industry and it's a male ran fucking audience, and like that was actually a big problem in the comic book industry. It was like, how do we get girls to read comic books? It's like, cool, let's get these people to have like sidekicks, like Batgirl or like Wonder Girl or like Supergirl, and let's give them stupid, dumb girl problem shit that's not really fucking like reasons for them to read it.
Yeah.
And then once they started like, oh, they're gonna have really
they
actually
finally
good
made
stories.
Catwoman interesting.
Well, then they actually started making good stories of like them fucking saving the day or them like breaking out of the shadows of whoever they're fucking supposed to be the sidekick of.
Yeah.
It became really top seller. Like Supergirl started superseding Superman for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it got
But
so popular.
I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
like
just making it more palatable since they know that people can be grumpy about
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
it's
And I mean, not to discredit that, like Ant-Man's character, because it's awesome. Like I love Paul Rudd, but like I almost feel like they were trying to do too much again, like but then not able to do either one, like go too far with it because it was a comedy and it had to fulfill its comedic roles.
Yep.
And so like I almost would have loved to see like a Wasp movie and an Ant-Man, kind of like how I would love to have seen like Thor Ragnarok split into two movies.
yeah.
Because like those could have been two completely different. There was two completely different tones in that movie, and
You're jumping
I
on
would've-
another qualm of mine.
But yeah,
So another qualm of mine for this is like at the beginning where he's just by himself in like house arrest. Felt very forgetting Sarah Marshall, and I liked that a lot. And then all of a sudden it just became a Marvel movie, and so that's why I was like, And then like it was so funny because throughout the entire movie I was like, I hope this isn't just a movie that's full of jokes, because I just feel like Marvel could do better than that. They can have it in its DNA, but it's not doesn't have to be only jokes with no real substance.
Yeah.
And so something that I actually really did like, but I was actually dreading throughout the entire movie was like, when are they going to do the Michael Pena, like, I know this guy who did this thing, da 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 da. And then when they did it, I was like, good. They did it in a good way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so there were some things that they did, like one thing that I really felt that they were trying to capture is this hatred for Hank Pym. Because in the Marvel like comic books, there is a hatred for him because he created Ultron. And he has to live with that. And so I really liked how they were going with certain depths with certain characters of like, there's some histories behind people. And like Bill Foster, I really liked him. And in the current, I don't know, Civil War's out, but he dies. Like Ragnarok, which is a character
What?
fucking killed Lawrence Fishburne's character. Anyways, but I really liked his character. But another thing that I felt was like wrong was that they never really explained if Lawrence Fishburne was saying was true or if Hank Pym was saying was true.
Yeah, I know. I was
Because it
confused
was like,
about that
what
too.
he's saying is lies, and he's filling it with lies. And then all of a sudden, you're like, Lawrence Fishburne, I'm only trying to help. And it's like, oh, okay, all's forgiven. And then it's like, but did Hank Pym really cause the death of the dad or no? Because is he really just a traitor? And then you never have Ava realize that her dad might be a traitor. And you're like, but, and then you're like,
Are you talking about tarnishing the guy's name?
Yeah.
Firing him?
yeah. And then like Hank Pym was like, no, he was a traitor.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's two different narratives. Because Ava's still gonna be like, my dad is dead. And then it's like, well, your dad was an asshole. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whatever. So
Credits roll.
Yeah. So that was a little weird off that. And then Evangeline Lilly, like, she would have been my favorite character. She would have been my favorite character if they didn't have her be like, when she's out of the suit, she's lost and broken. When she's in the suit, she's a killing machine. She's Sarah Connor, or she's fucking like Girl Interrupted. I don't know.
yeah. I almost don't believe it when she's in the suit for her to be that efficient at it.
I mean, I believe it. I just feel like it was totally two different things. And I've told Corey this, like, that's why I feel like Amazing Spider-Man was like, as a love, or Amazing Spider-Man 2 was like a love movie and then a Spider-Man movie. It's like, what? It's like, these are two different characters. Like, the duality is real. And I think if they played in more of a psychological, like, who's the person? Is it the Wasp or is it the Hope? And it's like, okay, play with it, lean into it. Of like,
Wait,
these
wait.
are two different people.
So the issue is that
The duality is
person-
between the characters, between the alter ego and the hero.
I guess I don't get it as much because
Like they showed
Like-
her with like disheveled hair, like
Right.
Whenever
with
she's
raggedy
whenever
clothes.
she's with Hank or with Scott and she's not in her suit,
right.
she's like, I'm sad and you fucked us over and you don't think me as a partner and I want to get my mom. And then when she's in her suit, she's like, I'm kicking ass. I'm gonna beat these
Right.
guys
I
up.
feel like those
I
could be
mean, that's
two. I
believable
feel like
to
those
me.
could be two in the same.
To me, that's like 100% believable
Yeah.
because it's like
Because the hero is the acting, or
Well, I guess
you know,
the issue that I had is like I didn't want that to be the case. Like I wanted her to be
a badass all the time, every day, all day.
Like I
every
wanted
day.
her to be a confident, like happy.
Well, I mean, to
Whatever.
be fair, they're on the run from every
Yeah.
government in the world. There's a small window of getting her mom back, and people keep fucking.
She's been
it up.
wanting her mom back forever.
Yeah.
She's
So like
probably
for
freaking
me,
out
I guess
about
that was believable because I get in situations where I get either upset or sad and depressed. And when I work, I fucking work 10 times as hard because I'm like, I'm going to get all this shit out. I need
Yeah.
to just do this because I need it to be done. So for me, her snapping into that, like, I'm in my suit, I'm in work mode now. Like, it's almost therapeutic for her to get this done and get
Yeah.
this shit.
That makes sense.
So like
Well-
that's why she's so confident in front of Walton when she's like, all right, you want to do this the fucking hard way? I need some therapy. Here we go.
I think
That's
it's
my.
I think it's very implied that that's the case. But then like to a point of like Infinity War, right? It's different director, different writers.
Yeah.
But like Star-Lord breaks. And when Iron Man breaks, when he's in Civil War, like there was no emotional, I feel like there was no emotional strain when she's a Wasp. Like she's doing things because she knows that's the directive. And that was just like, well,
Yeah, that's actually going to be one of my.
and so I was just like,
phone calls.
well, there it is. I'm like, you seem just fine. You should probably just wear the suit more often. Because it looks like you just you're not weighed down by it. Like in other iterations
I
of
don't know
superhero
about that.
stuff, like you could see that like they're getting weighed down by those decisions. But hers like, I'm going to save my mom. I'm going to save my mom. It's like, it was like, okay, cool. But like,
It's just focused.
I guess.
well,
Well, and it's not like I don't think one of them. I don't think it's wrong.
Mhm.
I would just I would have preferred to see the other version.
To me, I just would have preferred like a little bit of a blend.
Yeah,
like
or
a time where
better-
she like got out of hand,
Yeah.
or even a time where she's like, no, this is the only thing that matters.
But the silver lining is, I'm excited for if and when there is a Wasp movie or a second version of us seeing her.
The
which
Wasp
hopefully
and
soon.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, the Wasp, man. Or just the Wasp.
I guess I don't know. In some ways, I just felt like it was like two tonalities that were a little too like one beat off the other instead of like a blend into it. And I think
not enough time, not enough screen time.
yeah,
to
the only
explore
blend would have
that
been more of
and
her.
to give us that kind of in writing or whatever.
Yeah, the better blend would have been more of her in it.
Yeah.
And the only time I think that we saw a slight glimpse of it is when Scott says the FBI is on their way, and she's like, "Just go," and it's like, "Okay." You saw the transition, like, and that's fine. But more
I feel
of it
like
would've been
that's
fine.
all you really need, though. Because
You feel,
yeah,
but not me. Because I wanted,
All
I wanted it. Well, I wanted this to be just
Each
a
their
Wasp.
own.
I just wanted this to be
Fair.
just like a Wasp movie because the thing is, like, she was more of the hero to me. She was saving Scott pretty much almost every time, and he saved her like once. He saved her when like Ghost was about to punch her in the
To kind of
hotel.
like summarize it, like when you first see her, she could have been in like a leather super suit or something like that, and like her like ponytail like hair,
yeah.
like she's in spy mode because she's running from the law,
Sunglasses.
whatever. Like that's the version that I was hoping to see. But
Okay.
hoping.
What's
Hope-
funny
hope-
is I don't see Scott Lang as a hero. I do think that he's just going with it. And there's a part of me that it's like he just kind of right place, right time. He like
Yeah.
pretty much even in the first time he was kind of wrangled into becoming Ant-Man. Like Hank Pym is like, well, I've been watching you for weeks.
Yeah.
Like I think I found the guy, and he's basically, I mean, the whole time he's even asked by Captain America, like they make a joke about it where he goes off and he's like, he's literally like, in anything that we've seen, he's just kind of going with it,
yeah.
and it doesn't
I
bother
mean,
me so
the
much.
first movie, he's pretty heroic by the end of it to take down.
Well, I mean, I think that he's heroic. It's just he's still going with it.
but I mean, I guess you could argue that all heroes are just kind of going
yeah,
with
that's
it.
true.
in that
I
case.
don't.
it's either it's
I've
well,
heard it in the conversation a
He
couple of
just-
times where he's not, or like,
well,
anyway.
There's two
I
things.
feel like Ant-Man feels a little more human than most other
Yes.
heroes.
He's a
like-
civilian.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
super civilian.
Well, I
He's
mean,
kind of learning as he goes.
And there's two things. It's either the story's character driven or it's story driven. Who's
Yeah.
pushing what? Is the character pushing the story or is the story pushing the
I
character?
think that's what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And so what
The
you're
ultimate
saying is
version
that,
of that is in Civil War, where he's just like in the back of a truck or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
and-
what am I doing here?
And what
What's
was he?
going on?
What was he doing in Civil War? Being a non-main character.
Yeah.
And so you have your main character not being a driven thing. The only thing he was really driven in that I liked was at the very end, where he's like, "Shit, all my friends are in jail. I gotta go save them." And then he fucking handles it. Just more of
Yeah.
it, a little bit more.
More of that, a little more. Yeah, a little more urgency, I think, for him.
Yeah.
Would've been
But
great.
other than that, I mean, one real quick right before we pass it over to Josh. There a lot of the effects I was expecting just a little bit more.
Really?
The spectacle, like you mentioned.
Because like with Iron Man, every new movie there was like a new suit or a new technology, right? And so something you have like a technical thing with this, or like with Captain America, there should be a little bit of an amped up thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Isn't
not,
that all of Wasp's outfit was
Yeah.
amped up?
well, they even created a new Ant-Man suit, but it
Lasers,
was
wings.
in.
it was to me the suit
Prototype.
looked almost the exact same. It was like dismissible of the
But it
differences.
had like a thing that they could
Self-contained helmet.
self-contained helmet.
Okay.
A Star-Lord
And,
helmet.
The helmet before you had to like
pop it off.
take off and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But I don't know, it
I,
was,
I
it was
agree to the sense where like we were coming off of him in the airport scene in Civil War, where he's like stumbling into like an airplane and like,
Yeah.
where he's having like fighting scenes with Spider-Man and stuff like that. And
where he's grabbing War Machine and then like, or he's like smacking
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like missiles and stuff. I don't want to be like Michael
Which we
Bay
got
shit, but like,
but his Giant Man scene was just like him coming out of the water, like grabbing a box,
Getting tired.
yeah,
yeah, getting tired.
like
That
little
was
bit-
great. I liked all of that actually.
Like the only,
Yeah.
It was
Nothing wrong
great,
with
yeah,
it.
but I think that's kind of like what you're
yeah,
kind of
and the only bit of like
alluding
extension of like the pin particle things is like it malfunctions and he's like a child size, and that was okay. But I think I just want to be a little bit more of like an extension of it, like Captain America, like him getting like a magnetic shield in Avengers 2. I was like, oh, there's an upgrade.
Hmm.
Like there's something that's a little
Something
bit
new that
upgraded
he
in
can
this.
do.
Yeah, I think
in
they
the-
just relied that Wasp's
I
outfit
think that's what it was,
is supposed
yeah.
to take that.
in this genre.
And the
She can
cars.
shoot. She can shrink at will with a blaster. She can fly. I think that was supposed to be what you wanted, but it wasn't made into a spectacle.
Well, because they showed us that in the trailer. I mean, I felt like the trailer for this came out a long time ago,
did.
and we saw it, and we saw it, and we saw it.
It probably came
And
out
then
before
when we
Ant-Man
saw
1.
it, we were like, oh, okay, so she can do everything.
And we
that-
saw all the cool, like, we saw every quote unquote
Spectacle
spectacle.
Yeah.
of
And
it-
s- I mean, like,
big or
like,
small.
imagine it to Civil War. You have to imagine it in part of like the other one. So you have Falcon, who has his now new Red Wing, and then you have Iron Man, who has now the helicopter suit. You have a bunch of other new technology stuff that's like, okay, cool. There's some new cool things. Like the only big spectacle at this point was the quantum tunnel.
Mhm.
Like that was to me like that was like the biggest thing because like the little phasing effect was kind of seen with Quicksilver, where you get an after image, and I was like,
As far as like CGI or
yeah, I was like, I've
effects
kind of
that you
seen that
look at.
already. And it's like, show me a little bit something new for something that's supposed to be.
Quantum Realm, I guess, would be the closest thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that the cool thing they expanded was the tardigrade sequences, but then like when they go all black, I'm like,
I
yeah,
love
we saw this
tardigrades.
in the first movie. Like, you showed me a little bit of the same thing, but like the new landscape of the quantum realm where he sees his wife, I was like, I guess it'll do.
Wow.
Sorry, the Quantum Realm wasn't beautiful enough for you, Tom.
Grumble
I was just gonna say
skin.
this movie was kind of a. I'm not my qualms yet, but to answer that, my own view of it was that it was kind of a breath of fresh air because some of the MCU movies are just like, what the fuck is going on? There's so much like
Yeah.
CGI and shit going on in this. It's like the CGI that they use in Ant-Man in this particular one is to go with what is the power. So shrinking, all the stuff that they did for the shrinking or getting larger or something like that. Yes, the CGI in other movies you can say, well,
More
it makes sense.
spectacular.
It is very spectacular, but this is to establish the
90%
world.
of the CGI is making them look like toys.
Yeah, it's establishing the world, so to speak, and it's adding depth.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
God
but,
damn it.
it's
a particle joke.
But that would be my view of it, where I'd be like, okay, thank God there isn't so much going on. You know what I mean? That's like they're using the environment,
I
like
dig it.
her shrinking and breaking glass and then coming back up, and like it was a breath of fresh air for me. Where it's like, okay, you don't have everything like just fucking exploding
Blasting
in my eyeballs.
your brain, trying to process it all at once.
Yeah. Do you feel complete with your qualms?
Trailer stuff that's not included in the movie. It's a movie problem. It's a Hollywood problem.
Do you think it's like a Hollywood period or MCU thing? That's
It's a trailer park, like whoever makes trailers for everyone, it's their problem.
yeah.
Like, I'm sick of it. I'm
Okay.
getting really sick of like, I go up, you go down. It's like, I have wings, why would I go down? Like,
Yeah.
don't fucking include in the trailer if you're not going to bring it in the movie. Like, show me the shit that
I mean,
doesn't
that can
fucking
be
matter.
argued that trailer came out long before the first assembly was done.
Then don't throw a trailer.
Well, then,
Show a teaser like how fucking J.J. Abrams does, where it's like, it's the Millennium Falcon. Here's the characters. That's it.
Okay.
And it's like, well, okay. You don't get any of the movie.
but as far as Ant-Man stuff,
Yeah, it's like, show the things like this is going to, no matter what, be in the movie.
Only
Like,
because
this
I've
has to be.
worked in trailer part of that process. I'm like, I don't know why that happens.
I
in a
get
way,
it.
but
I get it. And like, to Corey's
But
point,
But I
it
feel
is
like
100%.
it hasn't happened until recently.
Well,
A lot
it's so rampant now.
yeah.
It's so rampant where like trailers are so divisive, and then like it either informs you in the entire movie or none of it. And then a lot of the parts that are in the trailers are on the cutting floor, and that happens. But it's like
It's
maybe
happening more and more now.
and maybe you just shouldn't include that if you think it might show up on the cutting block.
Yeah.
Like literally just show Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then show like a little baby running scene. Like that could have been
Little
just
baby
fine.
running scene.
show a
Like-
baby running.
Like I would
Baby
actually
running.
prefer to see like I love trailers. I fucking love TV spots,
them.
but I just hate seeing shit that like I know is never gonna make it on there.
Yeah.
Like some people have the opposite where it's like I don't want to see what happens. It's like I want to see what happens. I don't give a shit, but don't show me something that I might be expecting.
Right.
Yeah. It's that spin thing. It's the my wife and I always joke of it's all about spin. And so like doing promo or trailers, it's like that, how do we hook them? And it's like using scenes like that where it's like, oh cool, it would be fun to see that repartee or whatever, and then it doesn't happen. You're like, cool. I really wanted to see Hulk in that battle. It's like, great.
Well, it'd be like
right.
kind of like if I said like, hey, everyone that's on Patreon, we're gonna give you 50 more episodes,
Okay.
and then it just never shows up. It's like,
Yeah.
well, don't fucking talk about it if it's never gonna show up.
Yeah.
Like it's
That makes sense.
It's kind of an
So
asinine move.
lying.
Yeah, and especially if it's supposed to be so well controlled.
Visual
Don't
lying.
lie.
Don't
Kevin
lie.
Feige like controls all of MCU. It's like, well, I guess he doesn't.
Yeah. Let's bring it back into the movie.
The
Josh.
movie, the qualms, the qualms. I've talked about this with other movies. I am all about the awkward conversation. I loves them, but sometimes they just get too fucking long. And I'm like,
Skips
where the
Well-
joke just keeps going, where it happened last time we talked about was in Deadpool 2, where it's like
It's like a pissing contest.
What about
It's
this
just-
one? What
this
part
one,
was it?
I think it was between Paul Rudd and
Randall Park?
And I was just like, get the fuck on with it.
But
And
no,
then they ended it.
specifically which.
I think it was the last one.
The dinner?
Where they just kept
The dinner?
going. It like
I loved it.
no, it
Like
there's
stuff
something you
leading up
guys
to it.
like. I hate saying this qualm before I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying is like there's this like weird. It's a stupid qualm because it's this.
It's not stupid.
No. I'm trying to explain why it's stupid. What's that? Teeter totter?
Yeah.
Teeter-totter.
It's this weird teeter totter that it's like, okay, it's funny, and then okay, you could have gave me the punchline then, and then
Yeah.
like it just sometimes the awkward conversations, and I can't remember, it happened a couple of times in this movie.
It's with
I believe it
Randall
was
Park.
this very specific one that at the end that I was just like, okay, move along.
I think your qualm coincides with what Ollie talked about. I think it's a statement for the entire movie. For better or for worse, this happened.
Yeah.
Like Kaylin, doesn't matter if you love it. Some people might have a problem with it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so,
no. That's
like
fine.
there are things that like if you love, other people are not gonna like,
Yeah.
and that's what happens for better or for worse. Like sometimes again, there's too many jokes, or sometimes again, there's not enough CGI, or there's too much CGI,
Yeah.
Or
and that
not enough
happens.
jokes.
Or not enough jokes, or not enough Paul Rudd, or too much Paul Rudd, or not enough
Yeah.
Evangeline Lilly.
Not
Like,
enough
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's butt, I believe was the.
That was my qualm
Yeah.
when I walked in the room.
No, I mean it's not.
No, I get that, Josh. I'm
it's,
saying.
it's, and I hate to sound like such a grump on that. I do like them. That's the funny thing is I do like them, but I'm kind of sitting back going,
Where's the plot?
okay, move
to
the
the next
joke
thing.
along.
Yeah.
I get that it's awkward right now. Give me the punchline. But they always wrap it up. That's the thing. They always wrap it up with a nice bow. But the kind of the wrapping
They
is
play
a little.
they play with the threes and all that stuff. Where
Yeah.
it comes back later, it's like I get it.
Yeah, there are a couple of times where I'm like, I get it. It's awkward. Walton Goggins, I fucking love.
Yeah.
And his character, I just feel was like, why was he there?
Yep.
Like, why?
As himself.
And because he is an amazing actor. And I just feel like they just kind of like, hey, everybody, here's Walton Goggins.
I literally think he was like a portrait to hang up next to Ghost to be like, look, she's not as bad as this guy. Well, if he wasn't there, you don't feel like they assume you don't feel as sympathetic because she's the only antagonist.
Yeah.
But if you go,
true.
sure, bee stings hurt, but have you seen the fucking hawk wasp?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
So like it's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
and
but
you're
he
like,
wasn't
oh, I'll
even
take that
that
bee sting, thank
scary.
you.
But also, I think in a
But he's a dick, is
in
what
a-
I mean.
yeah.
in a similar
Yeah.
comparison, Iron Man 2, Sam Rockwell, Hammer, and then
Yeah.
you have fucking Mickey Rourke,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like it's almost the same fucking formula. You have
Yeah.
fucking businessman who wants fucking parts for money, and then you have fucking Whiplash who's like a victimized dude because of Stark technology.
Yeah.
It's the same practical, like it's the same formula. So it's like it shows like Whiplash is like the main bad guy, the main problem, but he's not really the thing. But then you have Sam Rockwell, who's a slept on ass talent, playing some little bit role. Fucking here's a little fucking like robots. Here are little
Yeah.
SUVs that we're just gonna
At
shoot
least
through.
he's not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's literally
Well,
his
that's
role.
the thing. Is like, yeah, Walton Goggins was just there to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like he didn't provide any sort of like.
And good for him all the way to the bank.
Yeah. No, he's
Yeah.
amazing. But he didn't provide any sort of like, even in the final chase scene, it was like, boink,
Yeah.
I'm done with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but Walton Goggins,
Yeah.
you could have made him do
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful things.
Maybe he'll be with
But he wasn't.
Michael Keaton sometime.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I
Oh, I'd love that.
That'd be
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I might think of another one. I had another one and then it went, phew.
It went into the quantum room.
Yeah, it went.
You want me to step in?
Sure.
My biggest
It must have been a quantum qualm.
my biggest qualm with this movie is character development.
Oh.
Everyone, I'd say, for me, everyone at the beginning of the movie is the same person by the end of the movie.
What?
Yeah.
They just got something out of it.
Wasp starts off badass as shit, wanting her mom back, and at the end of the movie, she's badass as shit, but she's got her mom.
Oh.
Scott
they
Lang
just get something.
is like, oh boy, I hope that I get my daughter. And what does he learn from the movie? I got my daughter, even though I didn't have to listen to anything. So like, it's a weird, for me, it was weird that like there is no growth besides like literal
Corey,
growth.
why'd you make me think about that?
I don't know, because that bugged me throughout the whole thing.
Well, the funny thing is like that's kind of like I think the fine line with comedies, like good comedies that can play those heart points that you're talking about, that we've talked about on the show before, and then ones that don't.
Yeah.
That like at the end of the movie, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
The only thing that really matters at the end, snap.
Oh.
The movie didn't happen.
It had
the
an
snap.
opportunity to, like to your point, I think it had an opportunity to, and it had a couple threads of this going on, of like sacrificing your own stuff for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like that could have applied
But-
to Ghost's character.
but they
That
don't-
could have
He
applied
didn't
to
get. There's no real
Batman's,
consequence.
But
They didn't
use
explore it.
Yeah.
So like my biggest issue, I guess, is that everyone is the same from beginning to end, no consequence.
There's no consequence. There's no one. No one's living. Everyone's just gets off scot.
I personally,
Oh,
I
love it.
wow.
It's my favoriteest.
I personally thought going into this movie and still think it would have been a good turn if Hank had died, and to save Janet.
I thought that Janet should have died when she gave her power. Like she should have sacrificed herself. Like given all her powers. Like, hey, you know what? You try to protect me, but I'm just gonna give my life to someone new.
I get that, except that would undermine
The
the whole movie because
yeah.
they're like, oh well, then
Then there was no reason to save you.
there was no reason. So I think story wise, Hank should have died, and it would have had consequence. We would have had character growth because, like, yes, I got my mom back, but at what cost?
But we lost her dad.
Scott lost his mentor, right? But he still helped save everyone else and saved Ghost. And like, I think it would have given a little more emotional weight to it and shown that Hank's stuff does have consequence, playing with quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
If you're too, because he is very like nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Super nonchalant.
And also, don't make enemies with every fucking smart person.
Yeah. So for me, the character growth was one of the biggest things. I do think, to Josh's point, you could eliminate Walton Goggins from this movie. Like that whole storyline to me felt pointless from start to finish, especially when he just kept saying my investors. And I was like, oh, great. They're never going to explain that.
He didn't say
No?
like my investors, my investors.
Yeah.
I do
They're
declare.
never going to explain who they are.
No?
They never did in the movie. They never will.
Hopefully it's Norman
that's fair.
Osborn.
The Watchers.
Yeah, but I honestly think if they had eliminated any scene with Walton Goggins and replaced it with either A, character growth for Hope, or B, character growth for Ghost, I think that would have been amazing.
But you wouldn't have gotten any cool like driving chase scenes.
The
man.
only
You
the
still
only
could
way
have.
that I could see that Walton Goggins' character could be useful is if it is explained later on, like are these investors? Who is he trying to, like, who's on the other line? What if there is somebody in the
They
next
should
phase?
have dropped a hint in
that
this
is-
movie.
That
though.
could have been the post-credit
That's
scene.
true, yeah.
Oh,
It should have been the post-credit scene. It should
Rather
have been
than
Sorry, we
an
lost one of
ant
the
playing
hands
drums.
up.
of someone.
Now the other
but
end.
he and his associates are like
faceless enemies.
idiots. Yeah, they're a bunch. They're on par with
The sticky bandits.
Michael Pena's group, but they aren't the good guys.
Yeah.
Like, so that whole bit bugged me. And you still could have got the car chases, still could have got everything. Like, you still could have had done it with the police or whatever, or the FBI. Like, Randall Park could have stepped up his character a little more. Like, they could have written him to be like a little more action oriented. Like, oh, we hear he's out there, and that whole car chase instead of with Walton Goggins could have been with the FBI.
Yeah.
So for me, I think those are I'll leave it there. Those are the two biggest qualms for me was character development. No one changes from start to finish. And B was the not spending enough time on your characters, which ties all back in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Everyone gets away with everything.
Joshua, do you
scot-free,
remember
no consequence.
I remembered the feud between Hank Pym and
Bill Foster.
Bill Foster, I kind of thought was like meh. Like, I just felt like they weren't enough. Like,
It was very delivered.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's again that you could have spent more
it's
time
like,
on it.
are they saying that it's not really that big of a deal? Or because the way that they were explaining it with their words was these guys fucking hated each other. But the way that I was seeing it, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't believe you.
They just kind of don't like to be in the same room together.
Yeah.
That's
but the
how-
way that they're talking about
Yeah.
it, it's like, yeah, it's like they just don't
Ollie,
like
you
being
broke
around-
my heart, man. I'm forever sad.
About
Yeah.
what?
So sad.
I agree with that. And I mean, I think that again, that could have been a cured by eliminating that third party and expanding on the current characters that you're going to spend most of the movie with.
I would have loved to seen like a flashback scene, like
Yeah.
from the Goliath days, like when they're.
Or it would have been
playing
cool
with
if Lawrence Fishburne helped
Yeah.
at the very
Yeah.
end.
To be honest, like the thing I was looking forward to most was learning more about Hope, and I know nothing more from the first movie than I do now.
Shit, sorry. One last qualm.
Yeah.
I thought all the side characters were more interesting than the main characters. That's what.
Okay.
I wanted to learn more about them and that's a bad thing.
But
Like, because no one really developed, so it's
Yeah.
like everyone. I want to know more about these side
like
characters.
Cassie's day at school.
Like, why does she want to be a
Show
hero?
and tell.
Like more about Bill Foster, more about all these other people.
Yeah.
I was saying something, Tom. I was in the middle of my qualm. I'm sorry, you interrupted me. I was saying that I was, as far as Hope goes, because of the trailers and because of all her new abilities and stuff like that, I was hoping we would see. Not that I need a fucking
I'm sorry. You said hope, and then I was hoping.
yeah
Sorry.
an origin story. I don't need that, but I would have liked to see a little more of her becoming more of the Wasp, I guess,
More Wasp.
or like just what she's about.
Would
'Cause,
you
like,
have wanted to see a 10-minute long skateboard sequence?
Yeah.
if she has wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand any more about her than from the first movie.
That's
she's
true.
That
she's
was
still
part
the
of
same
my
person.
disappointment. Yeah.
And she's so intriguing to me as a character.
Just potential to be a huge character in the MCU.
You know, it's so fun when one qualm joins another qualm,
Yeah.
and then they make sense.
Exactly.
And you go, I don't understand that one. I don't
my-
understand that one, but now I understand both.
It's Qualm Man and the Wasp.
my last qualm is about Ant-Man, and
Is it a quantum qualm?
I like what Ollie said about
Qualm.
the character's just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And to me, he felt pretty useless. Like, I get that he was the antenna,
He did
Yeah.
some stuff.
but I didn't think they needed to take him out of his apartment for it. Because
They could have just built the lab.
they
in his-
called on the phone, and almost everything he did was nothing. Like, the one time he got inhabited by her, that was great, and I loved that scene. It was my favorite scene. Everything she was saying could be communicated over the phone.
I think that's what they were hoping. That's what they wanted. Because if it happened at home, what the fuck good
Well,
is it?
that gets into like loophole territory where it's like,
Yeah.
if it's a tiny little building, why couldn't that be in his living room, and why couldn't they get tiny to
Why
go
can't they
inside
just
of
shrink
it?
in that side?
Right. That's
So,
that's my point.
There's those things too, where it's
That
like
is
at
my
a certain
exact point.
point it
Like,
has
why
to be.
did they have to keep bringing him
With the
out
kind
of
of technology you have, you can't take it to him.
They went
Because
with like,
that
let's
was
replace
Time
Scott with a
Stone?
giant ant. Let's replace him with a giant ant, and let's take him out of there.
Because
and
the
hope
name of the movie
Is this-
that was
is this Patrick
greenlit.
as
we
SpongeBob?
doesn't get
because we
caught.
needed giant ants.
Is this?
But like, do you know what I'm saying though? Like,
no,
it's
I get it.
all
Yeah.
everything could have been avoided if they just never left.
we
his
just
house.
moved
Bikini Bottom here to
Yeah. If they just never left his house, all of his issues would be solved.
The movie that
He would
Kevin
never have-
Feige greenlit starts with an A.
Yeah, he never would have had to accidentally tell Michael Pena where
Oh yeah.
everything's hidden.
Yeah.
The ghost would have never known. Like, it's just, to me, it was a lot of like
Moving around.
Audiences.
forced call to action.
Again, it's story driven, not character driven.
It didn't, yeah. And like, I say call to action. I don't necessarily, it can be a push, but like this felt very like, well, we need him to leave, so let's just make him leave.
Let's make him tell Michael Pena for no reason.
Yeah, and like he didn't.
They're really good friends.
I know, but he.
And they're gonna lose.
It played him. It played him as a very.
They have a business together.
They played him as an idiot,
It's
and
like I tell
he's
you
not.
guys mostly everything.
It played him like he's worse than Star Lord.
He's
in
an
terms of being a
everyman.
hero.
I get it. He's a civilian and stuff like that, but he is, like you said, he's cunning. He's a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Like, he would know better than to just be like, yeah, come to this remote place in the forest that we're hiding from everyone from. By the way, that's where we'll be. Like,
Bring the
I was
s'mores.
even thinking, like, if I was in that situation, I would tell him a different location, meet him there, and then bring him there. Even me, as a moviegoer, I was thinking, why didn't he do that? But like, so anyway, that was my last qualm, is that
Yeah.
a lot of the urgency was unnecessary.
But yeah.
So
We
now-
could, we could go forever, but yeah.
Now we must rate. We must rate out of a 1 to 5, and all
I don't
these
remember who I said at
qualms.
the beginning. Did I say
I
Ali?
got a couple
I
votes.
said Ali.
And all these qualms are just reasons why it's not a 5. And I think unless you're Caitlin, it's probably
You
not a
said
5.
Josh? Who said Josh? Someone said
No one
Josh.
said
said Josh.
Josh.
No one
Oh,
said
2 on
Josh.
me, 2 on Ollie, then 1 on you.
Yeah, I said Ali.
Yeah. No,
I should go first.
Josh and I are the like cinnamon rolls for rating.
So,
We're never
AKA,
gonna be the Grump.
let the cinnamon rolls
Guys,
go first.
cinnamon rolls are fucking delicious.
They are. We
first of
know.
all.
Oh, that
Have you
white-
had cream cheese cinnamon rolls?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The frosting
good.
cream
I
cheese.
love that white
Yeah.
jizz stuff on cinnamon rolls.
Well, Louis C.K.
See, there
Thank
it
you.
is. Welcome back, Tom.
Josh.
It's 1 to 5, but sometimes we include points within that. I did have some qualms. Wow.
Proud of you.
But it still would not be a 5 since I did have qualms. So carry the 2.
Square root over the
square
over
that's
B.
divide
4A.
4A equals 4.5. I'll give that
All right.
4.5.
4.5.
Nice.
My God.
Caitlin?
Hey,
Because I loved. Remember, I didn't go pee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't go
So-
pee. That's
Wow.
huge, actually. That deserves a 4.5.
Imagine if all the movies you watch, you didn't go pee, all of them just jump up a point.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it
full
does say
point.
something because I'm like other movies. I'm like, fuck it, I can go pee.
Yep. But this one, he's like, I can't do it.
Karen.
He peed in his pants.
I say like 4.6.
Wow.
Nice. Just to price is right, Josh.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did he say? 4.5? 4.6.
6.
I was in that area already.
Yeah.
But
Ali? Did you write it down?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I wrote mine down.
I didn't write mine
Should we
down.
write it down?
I did. No, you don't have to now.
No, it's
too late
from
now.
now on.
It's too late now.
We have to do it.
Yeah,
before.
it's too late now. I wrote mine down though, so it's okay.
Second edition of Guess That Grump. We established we must write it down.
Mach
It
2.
is 3.5.
Oh.
What was it?
wow.
3.5.
Wow.
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 Okay.
I just wanted, just personal reasons, you know, I wanted to see different things happen and of all the qualms that I listed before. So
Wow.
That's wow.
I wrote down a 3.4.
Wow.
Okay.
I just opposite prices right to you. I'm the opposite of Caitlin. 3.4.
Oh my
The urgency thing really got to me
Yeah.
the more I stewed on it. But I still had a lot of fun. I laughed a lot.
yeah.
Like I
Qualms cost
I
a
know.
lot on their scale.
had
whole
been
lot.
I had talked about that truth serum joke all day. So 3.4.
we
for
really
me.
do need to discover a science to this.
Wow.
Like for every qualm based on it.
No.
It's
I
a
have a couple
gut
ideas.
thing.
It's a gut.
I have
It's a
some
gut
fun
in the
ideas for
moment.
that.
Okay, so
I'll tell you later.
I need to explain a little bit before I give him my number.
Oh my God.
Because you asked about that. And don't say, oh my God, because you asked about it. And so, again, I have my own scale of how I do things. And if it's a 4, it's a fucking masterpiece. I'm going to buy it on Blu-ray. I'm actually going to like fucking spend the money to go buy a physical copy of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just digital. And then, again, 4 is like to me a masterpiece level. And this one, like,
Wait, you have to
4
buy
is a
Blu-ray
masterpiece?
and you have to blow the person.
I thought 5 was a masterpiece.
five is I blow all day.
5 is you
all-
don't change a thing. 4 is I would change a few things, but all things considered, it's a masterpiece.
Oh,
Where does Dark Knight Rises fall?
I
Knight
don't
Rises
have
to
the
me
same
is like
scale as you guys at all.
4.1.
Okay.
To me,
So Dark Knight Rises to him is a 4.1.
it's like it's like
Someone with
almost.
Bane. Big guy.
She hasn't
Wait.
watched any of them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You haven't
She's
seen them.
uncultured as fuck.
I'm so sorry.
CF.
And see, I'd give that a lower score.
UF. But for me, this in terms of qualms, like they have different weight based on where they're part of. And so, like in comedies, I look at comedies as a comedy, or if I look at Marvel movies, I look at them as whole Marvel movies of what they've done and what great films they've made, or what shitty films they made, or the superhero genres. So when the phone goes off, like Caitlin has it, I mean that the qualms I have for this, I compare it in terms of like it's a sequel to Ant-Man, and it's included by Civil War, and this is in 10 years of 18 films. Like producers, Disney should all have it to a formula, but also to have it to a T. Give me something unique, but also if I see you making the mistakes that other films that don't have your power makes, I'm gonna fucking grill you for
It
it.
hurts you more. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna grill you for it
Oh.
because they don't have like an
I
indie.
keep mine a little more subjective, I guess.
Well,
Is what
like
I'm looking for.
like an
Just as in film. Like, do I enjoy this movie?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it does have some roots connected on either end by MCU, but I don't. I think my qualms stay the same weight depending on every film.
you're that's objective.
Thank
then.
you.
That's very objective, like across the board.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like to me, it's like Avengers is $1 billion movie. It was $1 billion production value. Ant-Man's a way less one. So no matter what, Avengers will have a bigger like tentpole to hold up. So for Ant-Man in this one, I was thinking about it actually out of a scale of 10. If I was like, okay, take my score and multiply by 2, it was 3.3. So it was 6.6.
Multiplied by 2. Oh God. I was like 3.3 is your multiplied by 2 answer? What is it?
No.
1 point?
No, it was
That's what I thought first, too.
1.15?
So it was 3.3, and it's actually lower than other films I've given it, like Tomb Raider or other things like that, because like again, I give it that weight. Like it's not solely based on the weight of the filmmaker and the cast. Like it's weighted by
Almost like you have no
everyone.
excuse type.
Like Tomb Raider,
Josh, I
Tomb
think
Raider
you
had
and I are in the
everything
same boat where
against
we're just
itself.
like,
Yeah.
and so
That's
that's
a
why I'm like, hey,
lot.
for a
I
video
just
game
liked
movie,
it.
you did fucking well.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
Interesting. Yeah, I think
Wait.
I enjoy keeping it a little more
So-
objective.
so is Tom's the lowest?
Yep.
I win.
take back that crown, Corey.
Yeah.
I am now
He's
the
Grump of
Grump.
the week.
What did you at home, the listener, choose?
Who'd you choose?
It's probably
Who'd you pick?
Corey. If you've been listening,
right?
Grump
If you've
of
been-
the week.
if you've been listening consistently, you would have thought it was Corey.
Have I been a grump consistently?
You've been in the Grump.
You've been a
consistently.
Grump.
the last few episodes, yeah.
Yeah.
You've been grumpy tum tum.
Yeah, because I'm so
Grumpy Tum Tum?
badass.
Yeah,
I'm a
grumpy
rude,
tum
rude
tum.
boy on the lot.
Yeah.
Aww.
Don't talk to me, mom.
But any parts we want to gush?
What a Capri Sun.
Or
I
did we
mean,
do
I
all
feel
the
like we
gushing?
gushed a lot.
We did gush.
We
are
got
at that
plenty.
2
That's
hour
why I
point
was so
too.
surprised with some of the qualms where I'm like, wow, you really can like something a lot, but then still just
Anti gush.
qualm it so much.
Tom
It's like-
can destroy the Dark Knight if he wants to.
Yeah, he's said that many times.
Well, it's like you can
That'll
like
be
a
another
chocolate chip
episode.
cookie,
Is
but if
that
you put it in the
one
microwave.
where you said the thing?
What?
Is that the one where you said the thing?
No, don't even think about it.
Which line?
It's not about that.
Dark Knight? That's where he says, not in my diagnosis.
Oh, okay.
And he says,
I think that is the first time he has literally out
Did I get all
loud broke. Usually he's very good at holding it in, quiet
I'm so
laughing.
happy that went precisely how I wanted it
Did the
to.
anticipation get to you?
Corey, I love you.
we have fun here.
We do. I love you, Ollie.
Oh man, I feel complete.
I feel complete.
I mean, I feel like I gushed,
Yeah.
but I mean, this is one of those movies that I would gush a lot about.
Yeah.
I liked. Okay, fine. Fuck it. Michael Pena's like anytime we've already said this.
he's so
but
handsome.
He's so like anytime. Like I feel like they took the monologue scene from the first movie. They had that joke there and it was funny and that was cool. And then when they brought it into this one, they gave us a little bit more, but they also kind of related it even more to the story and kind of made it a little bit funnier to
Because of the truth serum.
Yeah, because of the truth serum.
Well,
so.
it was in the conversation. The story was about the story in the movie. It wasn't
Yeah.
about like a random thing to a random thing to a random thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun, like when you see those videos online that are like a synopsis of a movie in like 60 seconds or something like that, and it's just like if we said like Corey tells the story of Dark Knight in 30 seconds, it's like
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Christ.
There it is.
didn't expect that to happen, but I kind of did.
Yeah.
No, I really love the way that they built the world. And Ant-Man, they use the surroundings. From a CGI standpoint, yes. From a choreography where they shrink them, make them bigger,
Salt
use
thing,
the
yeah,
they-
dispenser.
Running
I
along the knife.
fucking love that. Like
And they brought, I mean, that's my hometown too, San
Yeah.
Francisco. So when they used like stuff like Lombard Street and stuff like that, I was like,
every time there was a chase scene and it was like a Hot Wheels car, it was like me.
Loved it.
It
Loved
just
it.
made me laugh. And like I every single scene, like
it was the same reason my favorite part from Ant-Man 1 was when the train falls over.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I was crying. I was laughing so hard when I saw that in the trailer for the first time. This big epic fight, and then just like someone just dropped a toy train. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant.
I do kind of want the house slide from the beginning when they're going
Everybody
through the
does.
house.
Oh, that
and
was
the fucking
That was so much though.
I want the whole fortress.
the fort was I was like because I built forts like that when I was a kid.
Like
and I was
that?
like,
You
yeah,
built forts like that.
yeah.
That's intense.
I used duct tape, not like the brown tape, but duct tape.
You're able to have
That's
fun
amazing.
as a kid?
Huh?
Must be nice.
It is.
There's Tom. There's Tom.
Well, now I kind of feel complete, but
We don't
now
get to
I'm
enjoy
sad.
anything today.
Let us know how you feel,
Yes.
listeners.
We always love to hear from
Did you laugh?
the fam bam.
What
Did
did
you
you
cry?
agree with? What did you not agree with? Let's continue the conversation.
How do you feel about
online.
truth serum?
How do you feel about truth serum? Is it real?
Have you? Yeah.
Is
have
it
you seen the
real?
Baba Yaga?
I kept thinking of John Wick.
Oh my god.
And I was
Where
like,
can they
fucking
reach
pencil.
out to us?
Well,
Slip inside into those DMs.
Slip inside of those DMs.
Oh, it's 25 cent on 25.
Yeah,
It's a drink.
Did you guys just start trying to get my mannerisms? when I was
Yeah,
going?
we
Yeah, we
did,
did.
actually.
And I
We
made a
spent
joke,
lot of
and he
time
was like,
working on
"What is
it.
that?" And I was like, "It's probably a Drake line." And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Yeah, it's a Drake
It's a
line."
Drake line.
Well,
how's it feel?
the short answer is you can find us over at nerdon.tv. All of our social is there, our email, our Instagram,
Social
our
security
Twitter.
numbers.
Yeah, those are on there. There's a hidden link.
Friend code on
Who
Pokemon
can
Go.
find it?
If you find it, you can have
There's a
us.
scavenger hunt mini game.
Yeah. For our social security numbers. Good luck. But yeah, thank you everybody at home for listening. We really, that's the biggest support you can give us is listening.
Yeah.
We loves it.
If you
Listen
like
to
what
our
you hear,
mouth words.
share us
Yeah.
to your friends and family.
Or your enemies.
Leave
Yeah,
us a
if you didn't
rating.
like it, share
It's
with your
always
enemies.
applied.
Yeah.
And, review us. It's always nice.
Yeah. We
I love
loves those reviews. We read them and they make us
We post
smile.
them sometimes. They're
we
really
do
nice.
post them. Yeah.
If they're nice.
But as always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.